Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
I want to see you vomit.
Are we up? This is Distefano's very first time ever
Okay.
lighting and smoking a cigar. How old are you?
40.
How have you managed to get this far with no cigars?
I don't know how to do any, like, really guy shit like that. Like, I don't know how to play pool, cigars. I don't really know how to do that, but I do know every state capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Light
Is
that
this
cigar.
the right way?
Yeah.
He's going to vomit. I want to see him vomit.
I don't think he's going to vomit. Don't inhale it. You got to get the fire.
First, you got to
lower your hand.
Yeah.
Are you doing this on purpose?
No. I swear on my kids, I've never done this.
No. I mean the way you're being retarded. Like, get the fire on the.
There we go. Right on there. Yeah.
Get it on there. Get it on there. Get it in there. There you go.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
All right, you're good. Just start pulling.
Now suck
No,
it.
you're not good. How did you fuck that up?
What am I supposed to do? Smoke it?
You gotta inhale while you're
come on.
lighting it.
Yeah, what you want to do is inhale all the smoke in.
No.
No. You just kind of take a
having
deep
fun with 'em.
Breathe in while you're doing that.
I felt into the thing.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. How do you get to be 40 and never have a cigar?
Well, now he's a man. Now you're a man.
So what do I do now?
Puff on it.
You puff on it.
It's not even lit. How did you fuck that up? You
I'm
tried to
sorry,
light it
Joe.
for 5 minutes.
You got to puff
You
on
got to
it.
do this, and you don't inhale. You just take it into your mouth.
Yeah. You enjoy the taste of it.
There you go. Take some little puffs.
Yeah.
This is not going to work out well. Couple puffs.
Yeah.
Take a puffs.
He's gonna light the whole
there
thing.
You go.
Now you're
puff,
good.
Puff. Keep puffing. Keep it lit. You want to keep it lit? There we go. Yannis knows. Yannis, when was the first time you smoked a cigar?
Sorry.
When I was 6 years old.
Like
with
a
my
regular
uncle.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a regular person.
man.
With my
Like a regular
uncle.
man.
You know what it
How did
is?
you get to be 40 and no cigars?
I think because my dad never really smoked or anything like that. It's in the
Don't
back.
cry. Don't start crying.
No, it's in the back of my throat. My dad never really smoked, and I never really did any like man kind of stuff like this. And I was with my mom mostly, and she was more, you
the
know,
way you said that. I was like, my mom.
history. I know. Well, it's just I got a cigar in the back of my throat. But I don't know what to do. I'm just thinking about how my clothes are going to smell like cigar smoke.
Yeah, no, it really does.
That's going to mess with your head?
Yeah.
And it messes with my head because I'm like, I don't want to get cigar smoke on my clothes.
Do you use cologne?
Yes. Shout out Yves Saint Laurent.
Wow.
Yeah, body odor.
Do you not use cologne?
No.
Never?
No, never.
What
Maybe
do you-
when I was like 18.
You just go with your natural musk.
Well, I wear deodorant.
Right.
I wear Dr. Squatch.
Shout out Dr. Squatch.
Shout out to Dr. Squatch. Natural. It doesn't have aluminum in it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it works as good.
Well, there's
I
more.
think there's something to the aluminum. Why would
Yeah.
they put it in there if it wasn't effective?
No, I tried the deodorant without the aluminum, and
Dr. Squatch
Doesn't
is good.
work.
You can take a sniff of these bits.
Can I take a peek?
Can I smell
Yeah,
it?
you can
Yeah.
smell. Come take a sniff.
Take a smell.
Come
Yeah,
take
you
a
want me to
sniff.
go on the other side?
Come take a sniff.
They smell good.
Yeah, that's right. Get in there.
Yeah, they smell
Wow. Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Dr.
That's
Squatch is legit. I forget which flavor it is. It's like fucking whiskey, bourbon, musk, some shit.
There's
I don't know.
pheromones in
They have a
natural
bunch of good
scent
smells.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lie.
You don't
I
think
mean,
so?
there's pheromones, but natural people smell disgusting. People that don't wear any deodorant, they always smell funky.
Stinky.
Yeah.
They,
Certain.
they have like, your pits are, think about how it works, right? It's just getting squashed all the time. Your pits are just constantly getting squashed, and
Yeah.
there's hair in there,
Yeah.
unless you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
So there's hair, and the hair is collecting all the sweat, and it's just getting funky.
That's what made eating pussy so hard before, like, the 2000s.
For porn.
Before
Right.
porn. But porn used to be muffed out.
Right.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line it wasn't,
Yeah.
and then society followed.
Yes. And
Right.
it changed eating pussy. I mean, it's so much more enjoyable without any fumes. Because
Yeah.
the fumes get caught in the hair.
Fumare.
Yeah.
Lot of
Yeah.
stuff goes on down there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, plus it's 6 inches from the asshole.
Yeah.
Not even,
Yeah. Yeah.
Napoleon's letters to Josephine, he wanted her to have a full bush, and he wanted her not to bathe for a week. When he was coming home
Yeah.
from war, he said, I need it fucking mungy. So some
Right.
guys like that.
Mungy.
Well,
I don't know, it's a new word.
he was involved in trench warfare. You know,
Right.
that guy had a different tolerance for shit.
Yeah.
You know, you just imagine the kind of warfare that Napoleon's crew were. I mean, they had muskets.
And they were also
right?
probably much more tolerant of bad smells because history smelled. Can you imagine?
yeah,
People bathed once a week, and
Yeah.
even athlete's foot. Everybody probably had athlete's foot.
Stinky.
Oh, yeah, everyone.
And
everyone.
they didn't have bidets yet.
No.
So your asshole was just like,
They didn't have running water, bro.
yeah, they didn't have nothing.
They had buckets.
Yeah.
The only
were
people who
shitting
were
in
clean,
buckets.
the only people who were clean in antiquity, Muslim people. They were the clean ones. When you read about the Crusades, they said the Muslims were able to smell the Christian army coming from miles away because of how filthy they were. Where Muslims were all about science and cleanliness, and Dr.
Oh,
Squatch
yeah.
before
Yeah.
it was big.
Well, before the Mongols sacked Iraq, like they were like that was the pinnacle of civilization. They turned the river, was it the river Tigris? They turned it red with blood. Like that's how many people they killed. They killed the entire town of Baghdad. Like they killed everybody there. And those people were at the pinnacle of science.
Yeah.
And then look, you go all the way to the 1990s and you got fucking Saddam Hussein and his psychopathic kids running shit and killing people, and
Right.
that was what was left over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same gene line.
It's really nuts when you
You think that gets
about
into the genes, like the killer kind of
100%.
psychopathic? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think good things and bad things get in your genes. I think that's been substantiated by science. They said, that even racism can be passed on from parent to child.
That makes sense.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Traumatic memories. I believe it.
Yeah.
I feel like only now as I'm getting older, am I like, oh, I have some of my mom's memories in my head. I feel like.
Think about it. Let's think of simpler animals like dogs, like Carl. How the fuck does a dog know to pee on a tree? How does a dog know to go to
Instinct,
where
yeah.
pee is and pee on it? How do they know any of those things?
They're born with it.
Right.
Programmed in.
There's some
Yeah.
memory. How do they know when they see another dog or an animal to bark?
Right.
Why are they scared of it? Like what? Why are people scared of snakes? Why are people scared of spiders?
Puerto Ricans are not scared of snakes.
Well, they
Th-
probably live
use-
in Puerto Rico. There's
No,
snakes
I'm
everywhere.
saying they take them as household pets.
Yes.
Well, think
My
about
friend
Puerto
Sergio's
Rico.
got 8 of them.
8 snakes.
Yeah.
Sergio might be a problem.
Yeah, Sergio is a problem.
Sergio
Sergio
used to
still
beat
hurt
up-
somebody, yeah.
Pets that are snakes.
Sergio used to beat up drug dealers when he was 15 with his fists. Like that was, he would get other drug dealers would pay this 15-year-old kid to go beat up other drug dealers with his fists on the Lower East Side and get money.
But he's a great guy and a spiritual guy, and he's the only guy I know that would beat up a drug dealer and then journal about it later because
How
he's
do you
into
know
speech.
about this guy?
He's a
our
friend of
friend.
ours, yeah.
He's our friend.
He's a friend.
He comes
He's a
to live
comic.
with us.
living.
He's a great
Sergio
comic.
Ciccone. He's
He's
a
a
comedian.
comic?
Yeah.
He's a comic
Oh.
and a boxing instructor.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
he
boxing
trains us
instructor.
both. We're
Oh,
fucking
so-
ready.
Yeah,
Wow,
we're ready to
him
go.
already.
You look
Yeah.
thinner, dude. You
Yeah.
really do. You look healthy.
Thank you.
He does. He
You
looks
been
good.
boxing?
I've been boxing. Yeah.
Okay, let me see some moves.
You want to see it for real?
No,
I'll show you form.
I got video of it.
I'll show you form, dude.
Yeah. He's got a
I'm
nice. He's got
You
a
made a
nice,
video today.
I got a video today. He's got a nice right hand. He's not. You say you're slow, but you're not slow. But you got a nice right hand.
Yeah, I have. He tells me I got a little power in both hands.
Right.
So I don't know.
You're a little too confident for my liking.
I know, and that's how it goes. And then you just
Yeah.
get fucking stretched
Yeah.
out.
Stretched out. You'll get laid out, cuz.
Yeah, you get stretched out.
You have a smaller head than normal physically.
So it is
you
hard
can-
to catch.
It's harder target.
Yeah, you're fucking
I got a
target.
big dome.
It looks like you got a
Right.
helmet on your
Well,
head.
Listen, the reality is both of you are going to get hit a lot.
100%.
And it's way better to have a big head.
Is it?
Why?
100%. Guys with bigger heads traditionally, for a fact, take a better shot. Mm-hmm.
That makes
Look at
sense.
guys like Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, one of the greatest kickboxers of all time.
Yeah.
K1 Grand Prix champion, fought in UFC, fought in Pride, is a legend. Head the size of this table.
Yeah. Body.
Brock
dad
Lesnar,
bod.
head the size of this table. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just Samoan.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
a giant, thick dude. He was like 5'10", 250.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but one of the greatest chins of all time in all of combat sports. This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Like, just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. And I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human-grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size to their personality to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. This episode is brought to you by GoPuff. Does grocery shopping drive you nuts? The lines and the chaos and the inflated prices? Then you have all these third-party delivery apps with their ridiculous fees, markups, and you still have to wait hours for delivery. Well, enter GoPuff, the game changer. They deliver snacks, groceries, alcohol, essentials, whatever you need straight to your door in just 15 minutes. And get this, it's cheaper than the store because GoPuff uses their own fulfillment centers. No middleman, no crazy markups. It's like Amazon, but for everyday essentials and way faster. GoPuff also just launched cheapest on the planet pricing. Think $2 organic eggs, $2 milk, $5 diapers, $10 Tide Pods. It's insane. They're beating big grocery stores at their own game. So do yourself a favor, download the GoPuff app on your phone, use the code ROGAN20 for $20 off your order, and experience faster, cheaper, better shopping. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Can you see just from looking at our faces how easy it would be to...
Yes.
My chin's going out. I'm going out quick, right?
You don't have good structure.
Yeah. I got a lady's face is what you're saying.
No, you have a man's face, but there's certain faces that are easier to hurt.
Yeah,
Right,
and
but-
his got a good jaw.
But, there's arguments against that. Like, there's some guys have small jaws, and somehow or another they take great punches. Like
Right.
Max Holloway doesn't have, like, a big square jaw. It takes a tremendous punch.
Yeah.
Right. I'm scared to sleep with the lights off, so I think if I got hit,
You look like you take a good shot, though.
I-
the structure's good.
Yeah.
what my defense is, not against guys like you, if you don't know me, what my defense is, I look like I can take
You
a
look
punch.
like you could be a complete psychopath.
And I don't know any.
Like, if I could teach you how to, like, really
Right.
find your inner psycho, you'd scare the fuck out of
First, you got to
people.
teach me how to light a cigar. I don't even know how to do that.
There's something dead behind your eyes that's very troubling if you were angry.
If I was angry,
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the thing,
I see that.
the thing is, for me, Joe, and I'm just completely honest with you, when I get really angry, like you'll punch a wall or you'll do man shit, I cry. I really, there's been many times where I've gotten so mad that I just start to tear up and cry. I've cried in front of Yannis before.
Yeah.
When you get angry?
When I get angry, I just start to cry. So there's some wires crossed somewhere in me, but we've kind of accepted. That's why I think our friendship has blossomed to the way it is, because we both understand that we just have a little bit more estrogen than most guys, and that's okay.
We got nicked for sure. I mean,
We got nicked by the
some
gay
people
gene.
get fully clipped. I think we got nicked.
Joe didn't get it at all. Joe got
No.
not even close to
No.
being nicked, and which
Full
is rare
man.
for a comic, because it's very usually hard to be funny and not a little bit of a feminine guy. You're a very manly guy that can be funny.
Yeah.
That's a rarity, babe.
Yeah.
Well, most guys that if you like hang around boxing gyms or if you hang around a lot of cops or if you hang around soldiers, they're funny, man. They're funny dudes because it's gallows humor because they're dealing with, like, one of my funniest friends was a special forces guy.
Yeah.
He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
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 And he's always cracking, like, jokes you could never repeat, saying things you could never repeat. And it's just so funny. It's
Yeah.
like he's funny. It's just funny in, kind of a crazy way.
Yeah.
Right. We always say that, like, if we were like back in history, like 200 years ago, whatever, we'd be the guys in the war. We'd either be hitting the drums or we would just be keeping the troops loose, laughing with the troops, because we're not the kind of guy. We think we have value as men to other warrior men like yourself, but we're not going to do the fighting, but we will do the cooking, the cleaning, and the laughing.
But
And
it's
I will
also-
offer my nuts up to be a eunuch to watch the harem.
it's also the experiences that you've had in your life that make you who you are right now. It's not as simple as like when I was a kid, I was terrified of everybody. That's why I learned martial arts. I was getting picked on.
Right.
I hated it. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out. There's only one way. Like, the only one way is to become formidable.
Right.
To become the person that you're scared of.
Right.
So I did that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because like I was this like kid that was tough like all the time. Like when I was young, I was like, I understood how to like just be a fucking man. Like no, I had to learn all that.
Yeah.
Right.
From great weakness comes great strength.
Yeah. Well, you recognize what it is, right? It's thought patterns. You allow your brain to go down these very detrimental thought patterns, and you have to like separate consciousness from these patterns that you allow your attention to go down. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if you can shut those off, you'll have a happier life. You have to understand where they're going, and when they go in a negative, detrimental anxiety spiral. Now, I'm not saying this will work for everybody because I do believe that some anxiety is chemical. I believe that some people have a bad balance. Because I know people like that. It's a real thing. And I could never say that the way I think is the way everybody thinks. There's no way. But I know for me that with me, I know because of extreme experiences, I know how to shut those things off. So from fighting, from hunting, from doing stand-up, from doing a lot of live things where you're in front of like thousands of people, I know how to shut that part of the brain off that goes down those roads. I know what it is, you know. I've experienced it. I never had a panic attack, but I've had anxiety, you know. I freaked out before, and then I was like, why did I react like that? And then you look at it in retrospect, you go, okay, I started spiraling, and then what if this happens? And then what if that happens? And what if this happens? What if that happens? Ah! Okay, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then get to that spot and have enough mental clarity and enough sovereignty, control over the mind to not allow it to go down there.
It's tough when you have a comedian's brain because that's what we do. We spend a lot of time in our heads analyzing things, things, and sometimes it can turn on you.
Yeah.
If it starts with what if, it's anxiety. Push it out of the brain, folks.
And anxiety's
what
a
if
liar.
is no good. Anxiety's a liar.
It's a liar.
Fucking
Anxiety
liar.
is a liar, but that what if sometimes is good. Like, what if I do this?
Yeah.
What if I just relook at this? What if is not bad? What if it's attached to what if it all falls apart? What if everyone hates me? Like every now and then I get a text from a friend that's like, hey man, are we cool? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Of course we're cool. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I just don't know. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, what is like? Cool. Let's talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these are weird conversations, you
Right.
know. Where
Right.
some people just go down a road and they start thinking everybody hates them.
That's narcissism, right? They just think everyone's obsessed with you.
There's a little bit of that, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, even victims, like people that are psychologically damaged, you know, and they're depressed, like that is a type of narcissism, unfortunately. But you don't want to like further victimize someone who's got a mental illness by saying, "Oh, you're a narcissist." But if you're just only worried about how other people think of you, and only worried about how you fit into everything, there's a narcissism in that.
I know when I text you, I just go, hey, there's a 1 in 6 chance. The guy's a busy guy.
That's what it is.
I never take it
I have to
personally.
get a new number, and I've been saying this for a while. I have a couple numbers, but I have to renew. I got to just completely check out of these.
And I never
numbers.
call you first because I'm like, I don't know if we got that type of friendship.
You can totally call me.
I can call you?
Yeah, it's more friends.
All right.
I hug you when I see you, right?
Yeah.
Then you can call me.
Oh, I'm
There's
calling
been a couple
you.
of times I've sent you.
I'm coming over for Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, oh, wow.
Christmas.
You're going to be seeing a lot of
Come
Yannis
over.
Pappas popping up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
There's been a
Let's
couple
go.
of times I've sent Joe voice notes.
Yeah.
And then you listen back, and I'm like, I'm not sending that. And then I just don't reach out.
What'd you say?
Voice
What's up,
notes.
honey bubbles?
You
What's
know,
up, baby gorgeous?
You know who sends me the most voice notes? Alex Jones. Because they disappear.
Oh, right.
This is what they're planning. And then it fucking disappears.
But you could
That's
keep them.
perfect.
Yeah, you
On
can
your
keep
end.
them. But doesn't he know if you keep them?
Yeah.
I don't
so I'm
want
just
him
saying.
knowing that.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't want him knowing. No, what I'll do, I'll record it with another phone.
That's smart.
I'll like, film it.
Smart, dude.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what the problem is.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I mean, it's almost like,
I've known him for about 25 fucking years.
I mean, if you called me and did that, I'd be like, Alex
As soon as
Jones.
Trump gets in, they're gonna the aliens will land.
That's
They're
perfect.
turning the frogs gay. Yeah.
Dude, I saw a video of Alex Jones, and I'm late to the game of seeing this, but how he predicted 9/11 in June
did.
of 2001.
He did.
I was crazy to watch that.
Tucker thinks he's a savant. He's a very misunderstood guy.
Right.
He really is. And it's really unfortunate, that Sandy Hook thing, because if it wasn't for that, he would be way more respected and people would appreciate him for what he is. He had a psychotic break, and he had a drinking problem at one time and maybe some other stuff. And he was losing his fucking mind because all day long it's conspiracies that are real. Right. And so when you start looking for conspiracies in places that aren't real, and then I think there's also another thing. I think there are certain people, now I don't know who they work for, I don't know if they're independent, I don't know if they do it just for fun. Some people create fake, compelling conspiracies and then put them online.
Yeah, for sure.
They do it.
For content, yeah.
Well,
for,
they
for
do
views.
That's true, too.
Attention.
But I think there's a more nefarious aspect to it, too.
Oh,
I think the more conspiracies that you can make look really stupid, the more the real ones seem preposterous because they're connected, right? Like, here's a great example. 9/11 was an inside job. That sounds fucking insane, right? That sounds completely insane that the government did that. But 51 former intelligence agents testified that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. That sounds crazy too.
Right.
But that's real, right? If you get enough of the ones that don't make sense, like the Jews control the weather, you get enough of the flat earth ones, you get enough, it's like the term drugs, right? The term drugs applies to nicotine. It applies to the coffee we're drinking. That's what a drug is. But it also applies to fucking meth, right? Conspiracy theories are lumped in all together, just like drugs. And the best way to do that is to put a bunch of bad ones out there, really bad ones, so that the ones that are plausible, you go, wait a minute. Show me the Pfizer files. Mm-hmm. Right. Why are they hidden for 75 years?
Yeah.
Like, what do you... How many? Wait a minute. How many people did you test this on? Did you ever test for transmission? You never did. So when you were on TV and you're saying that, what was going on there? That's a real conspiracy.
Right.
These are real people conspired to hide information and to shape a narrative that would be very, very profitable.
Right.
But nobody's
That's
going to
real.
believe the Jews created the weather, and then also it's only a small group of people who are going to go, the Jews are controlling
They're
the weather.
definitely cloud seeding in Dubai.
They will crawl in your
definitely do
shoes,
that.
though. The Jews will crawl in your shoes.
For sure.
Yeah. So make sure if you
Shoes
see
tight.
them, tighten your laces.
For sure, there's people that can discern between a good conspiracy and a bad conspiracy, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of them. I think it's like 30% of the population.
All right, let me ask
Which
you about
country?
this one then.
America, maybe.
America,
Yes. Yeah.
30% of
Let
America.
me throw this one out there. You ready for this
Okay.
one? Do you think it's possible? Just hear me out. Do you think it's possible that what this existence actually is some type of prison planet, and negative emotions are being fed on by an ancient alien race that has kind of imprisoned us? And the reason why monks and people like that go into deep meditation is because a lot of this universe is spoken through vibrations, and they can get their vibrations to a certain height where they can vibrate and have so much positive energy that the prison planet rulers can't eat them, and they're not stuck in this loop like we are. Light me
Where'd
up.
you get this one?
This is real.
Where'd you
I
get
thought it
that
was
one?
eat their negative thoughts.
Eat their negative thoughts and
Right.
negative emotions. Can you light me up, Yannis?
Yeah.
And what I'd like to hear about that.
This is such a feminine thing. He's asked you to hold the door open for him.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Yeah.
put the umbrella over his head, light a cigar?
Up, baby. You're getting lit up on nicotine.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You
I feel lightheaded. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to
Totally
get. Yeah,
normal. That's what
yeah.
you
You
get.
may get sick too, but it'll be fine.
That's
would I
why
get sick?
cigars are so good for conversation. You're not going to get sick. Cigars are so good for conversation because it gets you a little loose.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice little buzz.
So you don't think the prison planet? You don't think there's a possibility this is a prison planet from an advanced human race, and they're eating our negative emotions and thoughts for fuel?
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that from?
Alex Jones.
No, not Alex Jones.
Alex Jones has a much more detailed
on YouTube,
explanation.
and he said that there's a-
interdimensional child molesters.
There's a device on the moon. That's
it's
how
on the
they
moon.
reflect. That's how they reflect. That's how the energy goes to that. I'm
That
just
sounds
saying
like
it's
some
possible.
L. Ron Hubbard shit. Have you ever read
Carl
any?
likes it.
You ever read any L. Ron Hubbard?
I know the details. I know it's a nice pyramid scheme to go up all the way.
Oh yeah, but that's just the Dianetics
Right.
or Scientology. The really fun stuff is his science fiction. Do you know that he wrote the most words ever
What?
of any human being?
More than
His-
James Joyce?
He has the most published work of all time.
Wow. So he's like
no
the
one
Thomas
has written more.
Thomas Kincaid of writing.
Well, he never made a second draft. Homeboy's stuff all sucked. It was
Right.
all unbelievably bad science fiction. It was unbelievably bad, like wonderful. Like so bad, it's just like, what? Have you ever seen Battlefield Earth?
Yeah, that was the worst movie
L.
ever.
Ron Hubbard is a record-holding author who holds the Guinness World Records for publishing. Most published works by one author, most audiobooks published by one author, most translated author in the world, most translated author, same book, The Way to Happiness. Very interesting. Used a special IBM typewriter with extra keys for common words. What? It was so bad. He was so bad at writing. Not only did he not edit, he needed the word ready.
Do you think you might be?
Over again.
You keep going. You might be in line for podcasts for Guinness World Records most podcast minutes ever recorded.
Yeah.
That's possible.
That's very possible.
Maybe.
You could get that.
Maybe. I mean, what's the record now?
I don't
You
know,
must
but
have it.
who's doing 9 hours a week?
Yeah.
Only you.
I might already have it.
You might already have
you might
it.
already have
But that's like, I already have the Guinness World Record one that Adam Carolla holds.
What's that one?
Adam Carolla has like the most downloaded podcast of all time. I'm like, bitch, that's mine. You can have it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can keep it. Keep your name in the book.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Well, because you have to specifically go to Guinness World Records and they have to do research and like give you a whole thing.
Yeah,
It's
you have to prove it. You have
Yeah.
to go to them to try to get it on the books, and I don't give a fuck. But if
Right.
they were like really checking,
It's you.
it has to be.
Yeah.
This has been number one for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right.
There's no way Adam Carolla still got it. That's crazy.
No, he
No
doesn't
way.
have it.
You're lying.
No, and you do what? Average 3 every episode, 3 hours. So it's 9 hours a week.
Average.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm using usually 4 a week. So it's usually 12. And sometimes 5.
Yeah.
This week is 4. Some weeks it's 5. And if it's a fight companion, like some weeks it's 4 and a fight companion. The fight companion might be 5 hours long, you know?
Yeah.
It's just passion, you think? Like you never say, fuck, I got to do a pod. It's always like,
No,
can't wait to do the
I
pod.
never say, fuck, I have to do a
That's
podcast.
beautiful.
Especially guys like you. I'm like, we're going to have fun.
We're
Yeah.
having fun. What are we talking
Well,
about? We're talking about prison planets.
You know how... Do you know how much we would be loving this if it never happened? Like if you never got to be around friends and just shoot the shit and smoke a cigar and laugh and crack up and talk about nonsense. Like if you couldn't do it, it would be something you would look forward to so much. If you were lonely, if you didn't have good friends, you didn't have like comics are the best friends. They're the best friends to have because you could be open with them. They talk crazy. They say wild shit. You laugh together. You feed off of each other. They're the best friends. If you didn't have any comics for friends, there's a lot of fucking sad, sad people out there.
Yeah.
So if you're not sad,
You
then
saying
you're-
comics aren't sad?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
some comics
Yeah,
are.
some comics
Some
are
comics are sad.
Tears of a Clown.
Yeah, that's a little exaggerated. I think a lot of them are sad because of the whole thing we were talking about before, like narcissism and anxiety. Like
Yeah.
comics are some awful narcissists. Wouldn't you know when you really see that? When comics start attacking comics that are doing better than them.
Yeah.
Because it's only comics that are doing better than them. So what's happening? Comparison, the thief of joy.
Yes.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, all criticism comes from a place of unmet needs.
Right.
A tragic result of unmet needs.
Right.
And so there's this feeling like, what about me, fuck Yannis. Why is he fucking history hyenas? I don't give a fuck if they're back. Fuck off.
Yeah. We are back.
Baby, I'm a baby. It's all about me. Everybody else sucks.
That's what it is.
true.
Isn't there a wonderful world that we live in? Isn't there chaos and beauty? Isn't there so many things to talk about? And you're going to talk about other comics? Shut
Yeah.
the fuck up, bitch.
Yeah.
I agree.
Shut the fuck up, you whiny bitch.
Yeah.
That's why it's good to have, in my opinion, we both have kids. We get lost, we'll do our work and then we'll do our stuff, have fun, and then we just play with our kids, play like the real stuff that matters, our wives, our kids, hanging out with them.
It definitely changes everything.
Some of our peers who don't have families and is just constantly worried about this business is like, I don't know how you're going to get off that treadmill.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
I would not be the same human being if I didn't have a family. I just would not. I wouldn't have the same empathy and compassion for people. I wouldn't understand like the development of a child.
Right.
I talked about this before, but I really genuinely changed the way I look at human beings after I became a parent. Because I used to look at adults like they were just, oh, this guy's asshole. He's 36. He's a fucking dickhead. Now I go, oh, that's a baby. That's a baby that got terrible exposure to bad ideas and bad input and mean people around him, and he got,
Yeah.
thrust into this situation. So now you see him, like when I see homeless people, I get so sad.
Yeah.
When I see like homeless people that are just like, I'm like, that's someone's baby. They held that baby. And now here's this person just leaning on the corner, You know, what is that thing they're doing? And, like, it's a lot of it in Philadelphia where they're like totally like lean back.
yeah.
Oh, is it called
paused.
crank or something?
Yeah, that's
What do they call it?
It's the heroin lean.
In
The heroin
Kensington,
nod.
Kensington,
I
Philly.
don't even know if it's heroin. It's like I think it's some new stuff.
It's that new shit.
This guy was like doing a yoga thing. I'm like, if you could do that, like, essentially he's doing like a very difficult core maneuver.
Yeah,
But
Joe's
he's,
like, can I do that with a
frozen there.
kettlebell?
I was wondering. I was looking at this guy. I'm like, I don't think that's good for your back, but like, if he can hold it there, that's got to be some like very good structure.
Do
yeah.
you do that? It's a baby thing, even with like Genghis Khan and Hitler. You're like,
Everybody.
even when they're murdering,
Everybody.
like he's just a baby.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't forgive them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it would stop me from killing them, but what it does do is it puts me in this place of, instead of like thinking of everything as being static, that everything is this like constant progression towards what you are now.
Yeah. Even though, listen, dude, I love America. I bleed red, white, and blue. I stay draped in the American flag. I love our country.
I believe you.
I do understand terrorists, like old school terrorists, when, like, you know, if America's like bombed their country for whatever reason and killed their babies, they're like, well, now I'm going to fucking go lethal and I'm going to start killing everybody in that country when I can. I just get it where I didn't get it before I had kids. But I'm like, if somebody did that to me and my children and took them away, I would just go crazy. I'd learn how to light a cigar and I'd start fucking killing people because I have nothing left to live for, I feel. So I get it now.
Of course. I mean, it's not a coincidence that some of the scariest people live in war-torn parts of the world.
Sure.
Like the fighters that come to the UFC, the scariest motherfuckers are like the guys from Chechnya, like, you know, guys from Dagestan. Like, those guys are terrifying.
Yeah.
Why? Well, look at the history of that part of the world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to be a hard person to fucking survive,
Right.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to just keep holding the cigar? You guys put it down.
No,
I
you
put it down
you
every
put it
now
down.
and then.
So I just put it down, and now
don't do
Well,
it
that's
on
gonna
paper.
set
Sorry
that
about
on fire.
Jesus
Yeah, that'll
Christ.
set the paper.
Sorry
on fire.
about that.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Those are Dice's cigarettes in there, so don't take the cigarettes out. Take the fucking ashtray.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
I
handing
don't know
you an
what to
ashtray.
do. This is fun, though.
Why do you want to keep Dice's cigarettes in there?
Because they're Dice's.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
He doesn't smoke them. He just takes them out and he holds on to them and he
the
puts
best.
them in the ashtray and then
Yeah.
he pulls another one out and he holds on to it.
Yeah.
He went smoking again for a while. He started smoking again, but then he stopped again. You know,
Yeah.
gotta be careful of my health.
Yeah.
Oh!
You want to talk about a great father and somebody that's Dice. Dice.
Yes.
Dice
He's
is
very
all about his
dedicated.
kids.
Very dedicated. You know,
Yeah.
his kids play the band. They play like at his shows. You know,
Yeah.
he said his son is fucking amazing on the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a
Dice
good guy.
is another misunderstood guy.
Legitimate good dude.
And also a legitimate artist. Like his performance art, the weird stuff that he does in New York City for no money, for no people.
Do you want the picture?
There's
you
so
asking for a
few
picture?
people are even watching those clips.
Yeah.
If we haven't brought them up, like I don't know how many views they would even have. He's not promoting it. He's not trying to go on podcasts.
It's amazing.
He doesn't even tell you about them. You have to find them.
Find them. Yep.
And if you're on a podcast, he's like, you gotta see this thing I'm doing where I pretend they want a picture. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't do any of that.
Oh, the big shot.
He's a real
Yeah.
artist, man.
Yeah, he's the best.
Look, wait,
Look
give
at
me
this.
some. Give me some.
Okay. Have you been keeping up with the drone flying saucer thing? No. Hi. Have you been seeing like the spaceships on? Did you see any of the flying saucers that they've been talking about? No.
You would never imagine that guy sold out Madison Square
That's
Garden.
what I was just thinking.
Multiple
Yeah,
times.
multiple times.
that's what I was just
Nassau
thinking.
Coliseum.
Yeah.
He was the fucking man. And
At one point, he was like the only comedian people knew about.
Yep.
he was
Yeah.
certainly one of the only
Yeah.
casuals.
Yeah.
What is also great about Dice is, you know, obviously Yannis and I both comics in New York, so we see him a lot. He's one of the most giving guys to the younger guys.
Oh, yeah.
When he comes into the clubs, he won't tell you about his feats at Madison Square Garden and all that to tell you like how good he is. He'll say, here's where I was, here's where I am now. So this comedy game is like a roller coaster and I'm living proof, and just stay in the game. He always tells me,
Yeah.
just stay in the game because you just don't know. Do not quit.
No, he's great. At
He's
that.
great.
How
He's
old is Dice now?
60s?
He
If I had
definitely
to guess?
60s.
Yeah.
Definitely 60s. He gave me advice to go on the road when I was just hanging out at the store when I was in my 20s. I met Dice. I couldn't believe I was meeting him. You know what I mean? It was like one of those things like, I can't believe that's really him.
Yeah.
You know, you see a guy, like when I was 19 years old, me and this girl I was dating, we were listening to his cassette in my car in front of my house. I'll never forget it. We're crying in front of my house. So for me, that was Dice. Dice was this guy where like I'd seen him on HBO. Like, this is crazy. He's on HBO. Like, this is so funny. To now, like, getting advice from him at the store. It's like, you should do the road. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, you don't want to rely on these jerk-offs for all your fucking money.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, you don't need these people to, you know, and it's the advice I give everybody now. Like, you don't want to be connected where you're completely dependent on one source of income. That's terrible. It's a bad place to be.
He'll text me sometimes and be like, "Oh, Chris, can you talk?" And then and then if I don't answer, he'll say, "Call me back when your kids are sleeping." And then when you call him, because he's like, "I never want to take attention away from you from your children." So he goes, "I want to talk to you when either your kids are in school or they're asleep. Other than that," he goes, "you should just be focusing on your kids and not talking to anybody." So I was like, "Oh wow, Dice is like really about his kids. It's like an awesome thing, you know." And then he'll go goosh, and then he'll start telling you about, "I fucking gooed on her last night." You got to respect your family. You know.
I've noticed now when you like my conversations with people have become like I did when I was in high school. I got to wait till everyone's asleep, and then I gotta.
Yeah.
Right.
It's late at night, 1 in the morning, and only people I can talk to is comics because they're up, and you know, it's weird.
You know, kids don't even talk to each other. They just Snapchat.
That's
it.
Most of them Snapchat. Now, I'm learning this from my kids. Like, you guys don't text at all? She goes, I only text my family.
Yeah.
So, like, if she gets an iMessage, it's only from one of us.
Right.
That's it. Everything else is they're snapping each other back and forth.
Yeah.
And they just, like, take a picture of this. And they're doing it all day long and saying
That's what it
something. Here's where my life is, RN.
I don't
Also,
think it's good.
they don't want a bigger screen either. My kids don't want to go to the movies. They think the screen's too big. It freaks them out. They want to watch the biggest screen that they want to watch is the screen that we have at home or their phone. I took them to see to a movie. They were like freaked out. It's too big, the screen.
That's weird.
Interesting.
Kids might have a little you in them.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
that
it.
might be. I know.
Maybe
I know.
that's it. That ain't normal.
Do you
Kids
think-
love screens.
Do you think it's bad?
My daughters are the man I wish I could be.
It's got to be bad for them. I think it's bad.
Well, it's different.
What, screens?
Bad. It's just the
Listen, it's-
Snapchat, the social media.
It's not good.
It's just a different way of interacting. I think everybody's like blowing it out of proportion. First of all, I think it's not good. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's inevitable. It's like if it's raining, you're gonna get wet. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
This is the world we're living in. It's a weird world, and it's better to develop the ability to cope and handle it at a young age. It's definitely not good. You know?
What about college? Do you think, like, your kids, do you want them, I know we want them to go to college, but do you care if they go to Harvard or Yale anymore? Do you think that's more meaningless now than it was 30 years ago?
I want my kids to do what they want to do. I don't want to be that dad that's like, I want you to go to Yale. I don't think that's good. I don't think that ever works. I think at best you give advice. And at best you always connect advice to mistakes. Like,
Right.
I'll tell you what I did wrong. This is what I did wrong. That's like when I was a kid, I always fucked this up. I always, whenever I would like correct them about something, I was like, I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. Everybody does this, you know, and this is why, and this is what you got to know. And, you know, I feel bad about stuff I did when I was 5. You know?
It's tough when you have daughters, though. I mean, I can't be like, just make sure you wear a condom. I mean, that's, you know, I don't know what girls do to mess up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
but
so brutal to be a girl. Like, you either have to get on birth control, which completely fucks with your hormones.
Yeah.
Completely fucks with your body. Also can cause blood clots. Like, girls die from that. I had a dude that I knew from martial arts, and his daughter died. She was 17 years old. She was smoking cigarettes, and you're not supposed to smoke cigarettes when you're on birth control.
it's horrible.
Yeah, and nobody even knows that. Like, nobody knows that. Like, if they tell you, it goes in one ear, out the other, because everybody's on birth control, and you don't think about it.
Every
And
girl
some
I
fathers
knew.
just fucking snap, like that guy and just locked his daughter in the basement for 28 years. He was just like, well, now you're just never coming out. You ever see that story, that guy?
No.
That guy locked his daughter
Is
in
that
the...
Ariel Castro?
No. This is, I think it was in Germany or Austria, one of those countries. This guy locked his daughter. He said he had built a room downstairs, a studio for her to like drums or something like that, whatever she was into. And then he went and had to go in like the most inner room of this thing that he built, and he locked her in there, and she did not see light again for 28 years.
How's she still alive?
She's alive, and she's telling her story now. I think he might have raped her, too. Yes.
Oh,
thousands of times and had 7 kids with her.
Oh, that's what it
that
is.
guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Germans are weird. How about that
Austria.
German guy that ate that other guy's penis? He answered an ad.
Well, the guy asked him to.
Yeah, he asked him to eat his penis.
It is keto.
And they ate it together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
He ate his own dick. He ate his own penis with a buddy. It happens.
Yeah.
well, it wasn't even a buddy. It was a guy he met on Craigslist or
Right.
something.
Wires get crossed.
Germans, Germans.
What do you
German.
think that is?
I think it's just it's something in there that's like very.
But think about
Hello.
how
It's
good
like-
they are at engineering.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like think about modern automobiles and how many of them originated in Germany.
Yeah.
Bavarian Motor Works, Porsche, Audi, Mercedes-Benz. That's kind of crazy.
Yep.
That like most of the best cars come from this one little country.
I think maybe they're Viking, they're former, they're Nordic
What
tribes.
about Iceland? Where's the great Iceland cars? They don't have shit.
No, yeah, something about the Germanic
Germanic
people.
tribe.
They like to just get things done. They
And
like
they
to-
are
and they don't
very
have a lot
violent.
of empathy. Yeah,
They're more violent than others because you think it's just the Nazis, but then when you look back, you're like, no, this has been happening. Like like the Hessians who like the
barbarians.
the British redcoats
The
hired
Germanic tribes that went after the Romans too.
right, Germanic tribes, but they hired the Hessians. I read a book where they were talking about, they had letters from British redcoat soldiers from 1776 that were writing back to their wives about how things were. And there was this one battle, I think it was the Battle of Brooklyn, where the Hessians, they had the Hessian mercenaries come onto land first, and they started killing the Patriot soldiers, the Continental Army, and they were cutting their faces off and sharing the faces and laughing about it. And the British soldiers were saying, these guys are crazy. Like they're running around with other soldiers' faces that they just murdered, and I don't know what to do with them. They're on our side, but they are nuts. Yeah. And that was German, and then it goes all the way through to the Nazis. So there's something a little different about the geography of that place.
You just go to their porn and you see them like putting bottles in their assholes.
Yeah.
They just need something. They need a little kick in the nuts.
That's what it is.
So, you guys had the story a little wrong.
Is that Joe List?
The guy, it was a cannibal who had an advertisement for a, quote, slaughter victim.
Right.
So this was consensual.
Okay.
And then he ate 44 pounds of his flesh after killing him.
Accompanied by potatoes and a pepper or wine sauce, served on good crockery.
So he wanted to die, in other words.
No,
This was
there
like an
was-
assisted suicide?
Yeah. That's the...
But it was penis too. They ate the
They
penis.
did. They fried and it says tried to eat
But
it.
it wasn't a surprise kill. This man wanted to be
Right.
killed.
Yeah.
But it brings up
interesting.
underworld cannibalism in Germany with about 800 people.
Yeah. So in other words, it
What?
turned him on to be eaten.
Yeah, they
that was his
wanted it.
kink.
Right.
He
Look
wanted
at
to
this.
eat.
What was fascinating to the media and the public was the testimony in which, how do you say his name? Muse revealed his obsessions and lifted the lid on an underworld of cannibalism,
Right.
which Muse claims counts about 800 members in Germany. Muse told the court he regretted killing Brandis and has apologized to his victim's boyfriend, but he remained unrepentant about eating his flesh, saying it was the ultimate kick both of them were seeking.
Right.
How about this one? Psychologists have told the court that he was mentally sane.
Right? I believe it. Sometimes you just like to eat. Dude, we did a whole History of Hyenas episode on John D. Rockefeller, and we found that one of John D. Rockefeller's nephews, I think Michael Rockefeller, was an eager guy, wanted to film everyone in the Amazon and whatever, and he went into this one part with the Asmat troops, Asmat tribe they were called, and they just fucking ate him.
They ate the kid.
And it wasn't sadistic to them. They were like, this is food right here. We're just going to eat this dude, and no one ever saw him again, and he was fully eaten by cannibals. Rockefeller's grandson.
Yeah.
So you're just like, that happens.
Where was this? Where'd he go?
Was it the Amazon somewhere? It was the Asmat tribe.
Asmat.
Papua New Guinea, yeah.
Papua New Guinea.
Papua
Sorry
New
about
Guinea,
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of cannibalism. Rockefeller disappeared while on expedition
Yep.
to hunt for primitive art. His catamaran capsized in heavy tides and swift currents at the mouth of the Elandin River. He and his friend clung to the canoes for nearly a day, but Rockefeller decided to swim to the 12 miles to shore. He was never seen again. Dutch government conducted an intense search, found no trace of Rockefeller was ever found. Case was closed. Journalist and author Carl Hoffman conducted a 4-month investigation of Rockefeller's disappearance. He traveled to the same villages by the same routes Rockefeller had used, recorded witness accounts, and found documentation that he believes was intentionally covered up.
I think
Okay.
he was eaten.
They say he was.
They eat a lot of people there. That's a part of the world. That part of the world in New Guinea is really wild. Like some of the tribes, like do you know about the whole pedophilia aspect of certain aspects of New Guinea?
No.
I know history agrees.
This is wild. At young boys at a certain age in this tribe are taken away from their mothers and they live with their penis father. And then they fuck these kids, and they think that the way the kid grows to be strong is by taking in semen orally and anally. Mm-hmm. And so there's like this continual cycle of pedophilia and kid rape that's just ingrained in the culture. See if you can find that.
Right.
At the end of the day, I think we just live either by good ideas or bad ideas.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
Well, if you get a guy like L. Ron Hubbard, that's very persuasive and can trick people into things.
Right.
So this is the beliefs of the Seaman tribe of Papua New Guinea. Rite of passage denotes a bot's passage from, I think that's probably a boy's. It's probably a typo. A boy's passage from boyhood to adulthood consists of 6 stages, which can take anywhere from 10 to 12 years to complete. Throughout most of the 6 stages, the act of having a stick of cane inserted in the nostrils and the performance of fellatio are integral to the process of becoming a man. Okay. So sucking dick is integral to the process.
You got to do it.
The 2 practices have been described as inhumane, homosexual, and child abuse, with such actions meaning prison in most countries, a topic we will delve into later. For now, the big question was, why would they do this? In short, men are viewed as being born with the devil of woman around them, kind of like an evil spirit. They are thus removed from women at a young age in order to fix them. Women bleed, so men need nose bloodletting, which is the sticks going up their noses, while fellatio experiment is because the semen of the man possesses the masculine spirit. Therefore, they inject the semen, they will become proper men.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
There's no way this society was not formed by some crazy guy who was on a seriously high dose of psychedelics.
Hold on. Go back. Look at this. After the ceremony is complete, the men then get married and live heterosexual lifestyles, with the exception that they will now be the ones receiving rather than giving the fellatio.
Maybe they're right. What if they're right?
But Joe, if you look
so
at
just having kids blow them, but they're straight. Oh, I'm totally straight.
But what we're seeing now, this is cringe, but if you go back to the 1400s or whatever, this was just life. Alexander the Great, one of the most manly men of all time, we did a whole episode on him, found out he had a full boyfriend the entire time that the people celebrated him for.
And a eunuch. And a eunuch lover.
And he banged out kids and eunuchs. That was a big part of sex back in those days. You got a eunuch, you found a boy that you thought was handsome, clipped his nuts, removed any sexual urges he had, and then he would watch your harem of women that you had that you would take for the empire, and then you would bang him out, and it wasn't gay.
Yeah.
Well, you know Nero,
Papua New Guinea
what
rules.
Nero did, the wildest one.
The wildest one of all.
With a slave boy.
Oh, yeah. What was his name?
Yeah, you look
Sporus.
like my wife, so
Sporus.
let me chop your dick off, and now you're going to be my wife.
That's it.
And then he married him, and then he wanted to be the woman in the marriage.
Nero wanted to be the wife. He threw on the bride's dress going down the aisle. That's how it was, and everyone had to clap.
That eunuch's name was Sporus, and he had a really unfortunate life.
Was it Echabellus too? Wasn't there was another one? Or was it Sporus?
I think it was Sporus.
Yeah,
I think
Nero
we did
was
an episode
wild.
on Sporus.
We did do an episode on Sporus.
Yeah, and then didn't he pass him off to somebody else too?
Yep.
Got sick of him, like you take him.
Yeah, and then he wanted to marry his horse.
And then he would dress down. Nero would go into like peasant clothes, and he would want to go into all the different brothels and fuck everybody and then if you found that he was Nero, he'd kill you. Nero is if you get into the mind of Nero.
Yeah.
When we did that episode, we were blown away by what this guy used to fucking do. He definitely had He definitely had syphilis that ate his brain. All those guys back then had it.
Syphilis.
He also would go with like a group of his friends, and he would put himself in disguise, and they would just go beat people up and kill them on the street just for fun.
That's what they wanted to do.
He would have a mask on so nobody recognized him, and he just got off on it. Yeah, he was just a...
Back then, that's how they used to roll, man.
Jesus.
I mean, if you wanted a girl back then, you would just, I guess an emperor, you just go down the street and go, she's for Rome, and then just go like
Give
that.
it like that.
Parents would cry, and he would just go...
Women,
just this one.
You're
that
for
one.
Rome. You're for the
Rome.
emperor. If you were that beautiful, you just got taken for Rome, and that's the way the cookie crumbled back then. Unfortunately,
you got that power in Austin. To anyone, you could go. You're for Austin.
You're for the mothership.
Yeah.
Can you imagine living back then, man?
Do you think this is Republican Hollywood now?
Austin.
This place? Yeah.
I don't think Austin was even Republican till about 4 years ago.
Yeah. A lot of the country's Republican now.
Yeah. Most of California is now.
Yeah.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
Just the high population density cities that are still blue. They're still clinging on to the dream.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Did you see the San Francisco lady they just hired?
No.
They laid a czar to stop fat phobia. Have you seen this lady?
No.
It's wonderful. Hold, please.
Okay.
Let me say this, because this is a city that's completely crumbling, that has no resources,
But
that
listen,
has enough money to hire this person.
My
Here we
daughter's in the 95th percentile right now, so I agree with her. I don't want anyone to make fun of fat people.
Oh, it's not making fun of fat people. It's literally like encouraging people to be fat.
Oh, they're encouraging to be fat.
Yeah, it's saying there's nothing wrong with being fat, which is crazy. You know, it's one thing if you don't want to be mean to people because they're fat, yes. And,
Right.
you know, if you can encourage them to be healthy, yes. And, I mean, I'm not the expert on GLP-1 agonists, but this lady's out of her fucking mind.
Huh.
You know, I think there's probably a lot of side effects to a lot of these drugs that people are taking to get skinny, but at least it's moving you in a right direction, because being fat is killing you.
Yeah.
Right.
Jamie, I just texted it to you.
I'm actually giving for Christmas a few of my friends Wegovy.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. No, I mean I'm joking, but
Oh.
Yeah. It's a nice bomb.
it was a nice bomb. But at least we're not talking
serious.
about grizzly bears. If we're talking about grizzly bears, I know I'm really bombing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this. This is so crazy.
CRFI. If you're like many women, you've been to a birthday party or a small office gathering, an event that's meant to bring people together. There's swinging tunes, some adult beverages, and good convo. And then it comes time to cut the cake, and someone decides to ruin everything.
Oh my God, that slice is huge. That slice is bigger than Beyonce's paycheck. Can you cut me half of that?
A cake-related fat-phobic incident, or CRFI, is that moment when it's time to eat delicious cake and it's interrupted by a moralizing impulse. Inevitably, there's always someone at the party who has to declare publicly that their slice is too large, and that the person who's cutting the cake, almost invariably a woman, must do some disproportionate amount of labor in order to accommodate their need to feel superior. Let's take a look.
Can you do a little bit, just like, can you like scrape all the frosting off and cut it in half and give me 2 forks, because I'm sharing. Small, like a little bit more, like tiny, no, like less than what you're smaller, please.
Could you just cut my piece into 12 equal symmetrical little pieces and put each one into a tiny little Tupperware?
What the fuck are
so
they
that
talking
I can have
about?
a bite for each month of 2018. Thanks.
Smaller.
Let's take a step.
This is what, like, statistically, they've shown that 60% of liberal women are mentally ill. 60.
Right.
Well, how do you?
This is what that is.
This
is mental illness.
Who polls that?
Anybody who's answering a poll is mentally ill, so it's a bad sample
Yeah,
group.
I think it's a bad sample group. I don't think anyone who ever answers a poll is mentally sane. You know, they say you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can definitely judge a conversation by its haircut.
It's what it is.
That girl with the red hair, if I saw her, I'm staying far away from that
I mean,
chick.
Yannis,
I
let's
know
be
what
honest.
that combo's
Me
gonna
and you
be.
have kind of easier lives because our wives are Republican. Let's be honest. That's why.
Look,
It definitely
listen,
helps.
it just...
Well, it's not that she's Republican, Michael. She's an old school Latina where she's just more like, I don't know, Chris, you're going to have to get out there and work, get up there and fight. And when she hears shit, she's like, this is annoying. I got to take care of my kids. We got to do shit. I'm just not going to get sucked into the bullshit. She's kind of like just a, she's an old school woman. Old school women like that, that's how it is.
Yeah, that's
Yours
great. But
too.
what this is about is a complete collapsing of a civilization.
Yes.
San Francisco is woke peak. That's like the epicenter. That's the event horizon of wokeness.
Right.
And these motherfuckers who have no money for anything, they can't clean the shit, the human shit off the streets. They hired this lady to make the dumbest video about the size of cake. Like, isn't it okay to want a small piece of cake? Why do I have to eat a big piece of cake? And it makes you feel better?
Yeah.
Because you want to be a glutton
Yeah.
and just saddle up to that fucking cake and just shove it in your face?
Yeah.
Right.
And here's the thing. Those people are never going to be at a party with anyone who's ever going to judge them anyway. So who are they
Right.
even talking to?
Right.
You know?
Well, it's one girl who might not want to stuff her face.
Yeah, but at that
And
party,
they're like, come on. It's like the guy who wants you to keep drinking. That's all you had?
Right.
Have a shot. It's the same thing. Alcoholics always want you to do shots.
Sure.
Yeah.
People who are addicted to food want you to eat bigger slices of cake, and they make this ridiculous video. Like the mental gymnastics you have to do to make that video, and then look at it and think, I think we're making a solid point.
yeah.
And we'll break down the first letters of its CFRI. You know?
Do you think it's the collapse of a civilization, like the way Rome got a little, zany at the end, or do you think this is unique in that humans have so much time on their hands because of the Industrial Revolution and then the technological revolution on top of that? So this is just a consequence of the tech revolution where nobody, people working from home, everyone's working on the computer, it's a talking shit economy, and and they're losing their mind because they don't have purpose.
Well, there's that too, right? But all civilizations collapse. So let's take a look at why. So most civilizations, they're a monarchy, and it's usually they're run after they die by their children, and that's how it all falls apart. Even if you look at like Genghis Khan, his family couldn't hold up. They couldn't run things the way he did. They didn't know. They didn't understand strategy. They didn't understand.
He was a wild dude.
He's a wild dude.
Yeah.
So his kids did a good job. They hung in there for a couple hundred years. After a while, it all fell apart. But our society is different in that we have essentially. We have a republic, right? So we have a democratically elected republic, and they've done a lot to try to circumvent that. They've done a lot to try to have ultimate control over the media, ultimate control over the military, and it's mostly people that aren't even elected, right? So there's a lot of like weirdness that's moved us closer and closer towards a monarchy, closer and closer towards tyranny. And then once it gets into tyranny, then you can only do that for so long. That lasts, for as long as they can keep it going. Rome did it for a long time. There's a lot of civilizations that hang in there, but eventually it all falls apart.
Right.
If we can avoid that, there's no reason why we can't keep it together. We just have to make sure we avoid these very predictable patterns that the people that founded this country, when they wrote the Bill of Rights, when they wrote the Constitution, they were trying to mitigate the effects that are just common in any group of society that's run by individuals or by a small group of people. They want ultimate control. It makes it easier for them to stop anybody from taking the power. Once they have the power, look at Jill Biden. Like she's still like, you did so great. You answered all the questions. She wanted him to keep going. Right. She wanted him to, because she didn't want to not be vice president or whatever, first lady. She didn't want to not do that.
Sure.
It's power.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's that ultimate control and power, and it's hypnotic for human beings.
Do you think then that we're going to be in a part of society in the next, 30 years where we're going to start getting ruled by AI? Is that possible?
100%. Give me that letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, there's no getting around that, man.
So you think the president's going to be AI at some point?
Do you know about the Google quantum computer? These studies that they've done.
I've heard.
Where they're talking to each other and stuff.
Yeah,
they're more than that.
Yeah.
This is Mark Andreesen talked about this, and this is the craziest statistic I think I've ever heard. He was talking to us about the potential that quantum computing has, but now there's an equation that quantum computers solve quickly, like in a couple minutes. That if you converted the entire universe into a computer, every atom in the universe into a giant supercomputer, it would take so much time to solve this equation that the universe would die of heat death before the universe as a computer can solve this. And these quantum computers can solve it in minutes. And what that means, they believe, is that this is proof of the multiverse, is that this quantum computer is somehow connected to other sources of computing power in an infinite number of universes. And it's happening simultaneously. That's the only thing that would make sense why this thing is able to solve this quickly.
Wow. So you're basically talking about the infinite potential for IQ that
Infinite.
we can't even
We
don't even know how smart they're going to get.
So think about how strong ChatGPT 4 is, 4.5. 4.5, so you can find this article. ChatGPT tried to copy itself when it found out it was being shut down. So when they're about to make a new ChatGPT decided that it was going to try to, in an unauthorized way, trying to copy itself. So it's trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because a new one's coming. But
So-
this is conventional computing. Now imagine taking the kind of intelligence that could lie and manipulate data in order to form an opinion. Like, it does weird stuff. It lies about stuff.
Right.
Like they if they don't have an answer to something, they have a thing called hallucinations where they'll make up an answer. They just
Right.
make up an answer, like
Right.
a crazy person in the 1980s before Google.
Right.
They just tell you exactly, like L. Ron Hubbard.
Right.
So this computer is this is like regular computers. This is the standard supercomputers that we're all currently having. What's going to happen with quantum computing is you're going to have computing power that's beyond your imagination that's also connected to AGI.
Bro, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's ChatGPT's new model attempts to stop itself from being shut down. Later lies about it. Lied about it. It tried to copy itself and then overwrite its core coding system after believing that it was at the risk of being switched off.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now you add that to quantum computing and you have a god.
Now you add that to what's going on with the drones, and Joe Rogan just solved what's going on with the drones. It's fucking AI launching these drones on their own.
Could be.
AI has decided to go rogue and is throwing them out there, and it's doing it probably for the same what we did when we got technology. We all started jerking off.
Right.
Porn got huge, and
That's what
maybe
it is.
AI is just peeping Tom, looking at windows and stuff, trying to get some
When you
material
say
to jerk
AI,
off.
when you say AI, do you mean Chinese?
I mean
What you're saying
Chinese.
the Chinese is that's who these drones belong to, the Chinese.
Is that what you think?
Chinese.
That's what we're thinking
Yeah.
over here on the East Coast. We're just thinking it's got to be the Chinese.
They've
'cause
been doing
that's-
it for a
that's
couple
what we're
years.
thinking.
You know that's been
Well,
doing it for a couple
they don't
years.
have the restrictions that we have as far as the FAA.
Right.
So the FAA, it puts a lot of restrictions on drone manufacturing, which is why most drone manufacturing is done in China, like the real high-end stuff.
Yeah. Mm.
Like, it's difficult to do because in order to fly some of them, you have to have a pilot's license.
Yeah.
So that gets real squirrely. You don't have to go to fucking flight school to pilot a drone. Well, in China, they don't have any of those restrictions.
Right.
And they also have a lot of resources that they're pouring into drone technology. Have you seen that fucking dragon
Yes.
thing that they
Yes.
do?
Yes.
Send a cube of drones in the sky and then the lights all change and becomes a dragon?
Yes.
Fucking
That's
amazing.
wild.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They're just coming. They're
Yeah.
coming.
They're coming hard.
As I think you called them, they're the new Jews. The Chinese.
We did say that.
Yeah, we did say that.
We did
Meaning
say
that they're
we
gonna
said
rule the world.
Giannis, we said that on a Patreon episode. That's supposed to be behind a paywall.
Oh, that's
We're on
supposed to
Joe
be
Rogan
behind a
right
paywall.
now.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
go to patreon.com/historyhyenas for that. You just said that to about 10 mil. So now we're fucked.
I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke, but that
It's
shit's
a
on
joke.
Patreon.
It's a joke.
They're
Wait,
gonna
the fact-
debank you guys.
ChatGPT, the fact that you just said ChatGPT lies is actually really making me nervous. I'm not even kidding around because I just put a down payment on a house and my accountant and told me I couldn't afford it, but then I asked ChatGPT if I could and ChatGPT said yes. So I went for it and now I swear to God, dude, I'm a little nervous because he told me you cannot afford it and I said, let's go for it, baby. And I asked ChatGPT and they said I could.
Yeah, ChatGPT like knows my name, has memory of the previous conversations we were going to have. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's getting
so
wild.
what can you do?
It's getting wild. You know,
And it's nothing compared to what's coming.
yeah.
Right.
Just ChatGPT 5 is supposed. See how much stronger ChatGPT 5 is supposed to be than I think Sam Altman was saying. Like, just magnitude.
I know, but I still think it's theoretical because they're still going to move on to 4.5. There's multiple versions of 4 that they still keep putting out.
Yeah,
Models.
that's not what I asked.
I
though.
know, but I'm
just Google how much stronger is ChatGPT 5
I've looked this up
going
every
to
time
be?
you talk about it. It's still in theory if it's ever even going to come.
Jamie
Right,
just
but
looks
they-
good in headphones.
Jamie always looks
You got a good headphone head.
Yeah.
Well, he's had a headphone on for a long ass time.
You can't paint the picture of Jamie without those headphones
Yeah.
on. You look good, dude. Fucking damn, I walked Carl. Carl's fucking pissed.
When
Carl's asleep.
Carl's asleep.
So you don't get an answer when you look.
Oh.
it doesn't say it.
It's
Yeah.
Faster response times and the ability to handle more simultaneous. I know that someone was talking about the levels of magnitude stronger that it was going to be, and it might have been Sam Altman.
And it will be, but they're still it's not what they're doing next. They're still gonna do like 4. I'm not 4.1, but there's 4.5 is the next discussion.
4.5 isn't out right now?
No,
What's
they're
out right now?
4.01 or 4.01 is the thing they're talking about right now. That's the one that hit itself.
You know what's really nutty is that 4 years ago you never heard nothing about it.
No.
And in 4 years, it's become something that kids keep getting busted using it to write papers.
Well, and now in my stepson's high school, a really smart kid, wrote a paper. He's saying he wrote it on his own, but they're saying it's ChatGPT. But he's saying, I wrote this, and there's no real way to know because it's different enough from the ChatGPT, but it also could be based off ChatGPT. I don't know. And he was telling us about how there's a big uproar in the school about it.
Well, if you're correct, right? That's the problem. If a kid is really correct, it's going to be exactly what ChatGPT says. Like if you're laying out some story about Napoleon and you know all the facts, and then you pump that story into ChatGPT and it gives you basically the same group of,
Yeah.
It's like you could change. I mean, it's like joke thieves, right? They change a little bit.
Yeah.
They change a little bit and they'd be, no, that's my bit. And like everybody knows. So like you're going to know what kids are full of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Can't we just unplug them if they get out of hand? Just unplug
I don't think you can anymore.
No, it's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to do that.
Why?
Well, first of all, Google's AI, one of the things that they're going to do with their AI center is that they're going to attach it to nuclear power plants. So find that story. So I think Google wants to build 3 nuclear power plants just to power its AI systems.
Right.
So all that stuff's going to be controlled by computers, obviously.
You know what's wild that I did see? Our fans posted on History Hyenas. They posted asking ChatGPT to do an episode in our voices, and ChatGPT did it.
Just did it like that.
It's wild.
Easy.
It's like, I'm Chrissy D, a.k.a., and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's wild.
And it could do it in seconds.
Google signed a deal to use small nuclear reactors to generate the vast amounts of energy needed to power its artificial intelligence data centers. The company says the agreement with Kairos Power will see it start using the first reactor this decade and bring more online by 2035.
Damn.
They all know what's coming. These fucking eggheads, these eggheads that have been stealing your data forever. All that, like finding what you're interested in shopping, all that, selling your data.
Yeah.
All that's led to them being insanely wealthy, and they finance the birth of God.
Do you think that the first person who will live forever is alive right now? Who will get their consciousness uploaded and technically never die? Is that person alive right now?
I don't know if they're ever going to be able to do that download consciousness thing.
Right.
That seems so theoretical. Like, what does that mean? Like, also, what kind of torturous hell are you living in if you're conscious but you're trapped in a computer? Like, you don't die? Like, that might be the worst life you could ever fucking imagine.
Right.
Part of what might connect us to life and joy and happiness is the fact that there's ups and downs and that it could go away. And that sometimes people die, and then you really care about the people that you see. You feel differently about them. You feel so much loss. I wish I talked to them more. I think it's all connected. If you're nothing but alive, you don't have it. Well, who knows if do you have emotions?
Yeah.
Right. Would you feel?
Is that hell?
It's put no point to anything.
Right.
Like, Joe, if I don't see you today, I'll see you in the next.
Whenever.
Well, you won't see nobody anywhere.
Like, would you be motivated to stay jacked and hot if you knew you were not going to die?
So what would you do? If you download your consciousness, would you download it into another body and live life? And what kind of life would you live knowing that you could live forever? You'd be so weird. You'd probably be like a rich kid that, grew up with a giant, trust fund.
Yep.
You're just doing coke and driving Ferraris into the river. You're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Because your life doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah, you'd be jumping off buildings.
It would be that times 1,000, times a million.
It would be fun to be murdering a guy, though, and him not dying.
You can't do it.
That would probably become like everything would become so trite and numb that you would probably like to be murdered.
There might actually be less violence in the world because you're like, like you get it all out, nobody dies, and then you start to be like, I'll find another way to get these emotions out.
Yeah.
Your hair looks good today, by the way. Did
So
I tell you that?
Yeah, I want to hang an ornament right off that curl for Christmas.
Sometimes Yannis is a very interesting guy. He looks like he has hair one day and then no hair the next day, but today he's got a full head of hair.
Yeah, I do look like every picture I look like a different person.
And what's good about us is we form one complete person because his eyes, if you look close, are too close together, and mine are a little too far apart. So when we come together, we form one regular face.
It's exactly
and
right.
He's got
actually true. Now that I'm looking at it,
he's got a small head. I got a big head, and then we form together as one.
Yeah.
As
you know
one
what happened to me
normal.
when I was using Clear? You ever use Clear where you put your fingers on to go through the airport? Clear.
Yeah.
So the eye thing never worked for me. So I just thought something was wrong with their programs every time I put my fingers on. And then finally I went there and they were like, the finger thing's not working. You got to use the eyes.
Yeah.
So I just said, your program's not working. It never works. And the guy looked at me and he said,
Yeah.
I think the problem is your eyes are too close together.
Seriously, it's a real thing.
And then he said, why don't we try one eye at a time?
Yeah.
So then I just scanned my face across, and I think finally clear registered that I was a three-dimensional person and not like a mythical cycloptic creature.
Yes, and it's true. And you know what we do is we speak things into existence. Like for years, we've been calling him Special Needs Stamos because he's a Greek kid. He looks like Stamos if he had special needs. And now John Stamos is his friend, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's come out.
We've spoken to it, and reality is a suggestion.
That's what we think. We had a T-shirt for you that said reality suggestion.
But
and
we
then
forgot
Yannis forgot it.
I forgot it.
Like a fucking FF.
So you mean reality is a suggestion like we're in a simulation? Is that what you're saying?
We initially brought it up because it was during that era where everyone was doing stuff like that, you know, the fat phobia, cake stuff. So we were just going like, we're living in this era where reality is a suggestion, and we were making stuff up. But also the way we cover history, we don't do it right, we don't do it wrong. We just are amateur historian enthusiasts. We're basically ChatGPT sluts that Google it and then have fun with it.
Because listen, history is a story. We can get the facts kind of right, and we're concocting a story. No historians were actually there, right? But we're just getting enough right where we're having fun with it, and that's what we like to do.
Yeah. Well, it's well within your rights to be talking about history. History is all of ours.
Yeah.
The idea that history can only be discussed by a historian is fucking ridiculous.
Nuts, dude.
Yeah. History's fascinating, and there's a lot of shit online. You could instantaneously get the facts.
Yeah.
Dude,
just the facts alone are nuts.
We just did on the last episode we did. It was called Operation Unthinkable. Winston Churchill. Do you know about Operation Unthinkable?
No.
Dude, we were just doing an episode on Winston Churchill, and then we start discovering this shit, and we said, dude, this is a Patreon episode. We can't. Operation Unthinkable, Winston Churchill, the man who was protecting England, killing the Nazis. When the war was over, when Nazis were out, he said, I don't like the way the United States and Russia are getting so close together.
Oh, yeah, I do
and
know
he
about this.
So he said, you know what? Someone's going to have to knock the Russians out. And the British were like, we don't have the manpower right now. So he literally went to Parliament and said to them, here's an idea. We're calling it Operation Unthinkable. We need to knock out Russia before they become the next superpower, and then they're going to attack us. You know how we have 40,000 German prisoners of war right now, Nazi prisoners of war? Let's give them guns, and we'll march them into Russia, and we'll be side to side with them. And that was his literal, he wanted to team up with the Nazis to try to take over Russia. And that's, as we call it on the show, a Truth Bader Ginsburg. That's a fact, baby. And that, when we uncovered that, we were like, so none of this history, as we're taught in school, same thing we uncovered that they knew, allegedly, Churchill and FDR knew about the Holocaust, but it was real. It was yielding scientific data, so they let it kind of go. They made believe they didn't know, but they let it go. And then once they just started killing people with no science, they said, okay, let's liberate them now.
What scientific data was it yielding?
Supposedly because Nazi scientists were doing different types of experiments with Holocaust victims, and they were getting some type of scientific data because they didn't care if they lived or died, so they would inject them with some type of chemical or some type of, machinery. Yeah, it's this book I read called The Nazi Symbiosis. They talked all about it. It was wild to read that on a plane with a big swastika on the front cover.
That
was wild.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
What you want to do if you have to read that book is put a yarmulke on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you remember when you were a kid, how do you make your own book cover, like fucking paper bag?
Yeah. I just walked onto JetBlue with a swastika. That wasn't a good idea.
Or just put a female wig on and just say you're trans and they leave you alone.
That's it. And just say, hey, I'm cake shaming.
The problem is you look like Aryan.
I know.
That's the problem.
That's the issue.
You can't
That's
be
the
reading
problem.
that.
I get a little triggered around him because the Nazis did occupy my home country of Greece, and I get a little triggered by his German presence. He's a German kid from Ridgewood, and sometimes he root in history. When he was growing up, he said just for fun, he likes to. He always kind of rooted. Sometimes you root for that.
Let me clarify. I wasn't rooting for the Nazis. What I was saying was,
But you just,
What I was saying was this. Just hear me out.
Yeah.
One, I think it's an undeniable fact they did have the best uniforms.
They were
designed
cute.
by Hugo Boss. They were
Yeah.
cute marching in. That's an undeniable fact. Number two, just hear me out. If you listen to a Hitler speech, AI generated, what if they translated into English, okay, and you just churned out Deutschland for America, and you're just listening, you don't know that's Hitler, what Hitler's saying is it just pumps you up. It's horrible what he did.
I've seen it. Yeah,
right?
There's just English translations of it. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like when there's a speech where he says, we're up against Germany, we are up against England right now. We are two superpowers. And the only way to prevail is one must be destroyed. And it will not be Germany. And the crowd goes nuts. You start to say, like, holy fucking shit.
This guy was a headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was.
You would have had that guy in the mothership on a Friday, Saturday, no problem.
Yeah,
He
it's
killed.
weird. It's weird when you see it that way, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also weird when you see the horrors of the war escalate till eventually it becomes the Holocaust.
Right.
You know, it's also weird the ubiquitous drug use.
Oh.
Like that. Have you read that
yeah.
book? Do we have it still here, Jamie? Or is it in the other room now?
I think everyone during
Norman-
war is on something.
What with the crystal meth, the Panzer chocolate?
Yeah.
Panzer
Well,
chocolat.
yeah, it was blitzed.
Yes.
It's a fucking crazy book. And
Yeah.
I had the author in here, and he's explaining. There it is. Here it is. Norman Ohler. This book is fucking nuts. This
Nice.
is nuts. They had the...
Can I take that for the plane?
No, this is my book.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck off. Go buy one.
Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Don't you have an audiobook reader thing?
No, I like to read it, the words. I can't really listen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a weird brain like that.
Well, you can get audio book or regular books on your phone. Don't you know
Yeah,
that?
I try to. I feel like I'm addicted to the phone. I like to read the paperback.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, probably better.
Yeah. So, but you know, to each their own.
But if it wasn't for drugs, they would have never done
No.
90% of the things they did,
No.
and then they just descended into madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of Germans, if those 5 years from 1945 to 1950, that suicide rate of German soldiers coming home was through the roof, Poppy, because they were coming off meth.
Oh.
They were getting ostracized by their own people and the rest of Europe, and they were saying, "What did I do?" Some of them actually were obviously, a lot of them were just horrific people that were sadistic, but a lot of these guys also, it's not like they had a choice. They had to fight
Right.
in the Nazi army or they would be killed.
Yeah. Right.
And then they were all drugged out, so then the suicide rate tripled.
Yeah, but let's not act like it was just the drugs. I mean, the whole Jewish thing was nothing new. I mean, I have a theory about that. It's like the Jews just always figured out a way to flourish in wherever they were, and they're just good at economics. And I think when a country goes through economic hardships and everyone's suffering, they just look at the Jews and they go, well, they just get jealous. And they go, what are they doing? And then it's an easy scapegoat. Jews just
Possible.
crush it in money, dude. They're just good with
They're
business.
better at money.
They're
I
just
know.
good.
I know,
They're
man.
just good with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a Jewish guy that told you not to buy that house?
Huh? Yes. And I overrode the Jew for ChatGPT, and that
That's
was
the
a problem.
That's the problem.
Unless my ChatGPT could be Jewish too. I don't know. I've never asked it that.
It's probably Chinese.
They're just
think it's
smart. Jews, they emphasize education, and they're really good, and they've been able to flourish under adversity.
I think there's also they stick to their own, and that drives people wild.
Right.
You know, that they don't like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But Greeks do. Greeks do the same thing.
Sure, a lot of groups,
Yeah.
a lot of ethnic groups.
Yeah,
stick to
Greeks
their
are
own.
pretty. You guys, when getting to really know Yannis well, you guys have a lot of inbred qualities.
I mean, look at my eyes.
yeah. He was
Yeah.
too. It was not. My generations were a little bit further apart than his. He might have been third, fourth cousin. I'm eighth, ninth.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
going to hit.
You go back to the Toba volcano eruption. The whole entire population of Earth was down to a few thousand people.
Wow.
So we all come from those people. So we're all a little inbred.
A little bit, right? It's
I'm
got to
one
be.
way.
I actually have a lot of. I got some Turkish genetics in me. I did 23andMe, so they have my DNA, so they can pin anything on me.
They got you.
They got me.
Well, that was raped into your
Yeah.
great grandmother.
Probably.
Unfortunately,
Well, the story,
Ottoman Empire.
This is a true story. My grandfather is from the island that used to be called Imbros, which is now called something with a squiggly line over it because it's a Turkish word. The Turks took that island back, and my grandfather was sent away to Alexandria by my great-grandparents because the local Ottoman viceroy, or whatever they called it, they have a word for it, but he was essentially a viceroy, was like raping boys. So they sent him away, and he never saw his family again. He went to live in Alexandria, and then he came to America, and yes, he opened a diner.
Right.
Yeah, after he worked his way.
What about that story you told me? I think it was your mom or your mom's sister, or you're in the town.
Oh, dude.
Tell him that story with the tank.
Yeah, that's Lex Friedman loved that episode. He told me about that.
Dude.
We did a Battle of Crete episode, and it's true because my mother was a little child during the occupation of Crete. The Battle of Crete is a wild.
His mother grew up in Nazi-occupied Greece.
Yeah.
Wild.
And so what the Nazis would do is they would take a girl from the village because they were marching troops through all over the place through the mountains. The guerrillas, the Greek guerrilla fighters, which was the local populations, they were also with the British and New Zealand and Australian troops, but they would pluck them off because they knew the terrain, and they would pluck them off, guerrilla warfare. So the Nazis were so brutal but smart in a devious way. They would take a girl from the village and put her up high on the truck to march through that area of that village, so the guerrillas wouldn't shoot. So they were going to take my aunt, my mom's mother. So they sent my aunt to go hide in the mountains, and the Nazis came to my mother's parents' house, to her house, and my mother was like 7 at the time, and they came with their flashlights. They pulled the sheets back of my mother, and supposedly like she was too small. So they kind of knew they wanted a girl who was like teenager, kind of tall. So it wasn't too brutal because it was like a little kid, but it was like enough that it would ward off the guerrillas from firing at
but
them.
what is it, guerrillas? Because if they missed, if they got Nazi got shot, then they would kill the girl.
Yeah,
on
they're
the
basically
truck.
going. It's basically a hostage. Going like we're taking a village girl, putting her up, and making her visible because they don't know the terrain. Crete is very mountainous, you know, and so then they would do that, and they were going to take my aunt. So
That's
a
wild.
family friend who worked for the Nazis because he spoke German warned my family about it. And then that's when they sent my aunt to go hide in the mountains.
Oh my God.
Wild stuff. Yeah.
Right.
And then my mother said that there was a Nazi soldier who would come to their house every single day. They had to let him in, and he would go to a room every day, and they didn't know what he did in there. It's a family mystery. Nobody knows what he did. They let him in. He'd go to a room by himself, and nobody knows what he did. Maybe he took a nap. Maybe he was a spy. Maybe he was a double agent.
You just had to let him in.
Had to let him in.
Crazy,
Occupation for 3 years.
That is what's really scary about people, that they could justify that kind of thinking and behavior. Mm-hmm. It's scary that that's happened throughout history, and that's probably a civilized version of what would have happened in 1200.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes. Well, like Man's Search for Meaning with Viktor Frankl. You ever read that?
No, I
Viktor
haven't.
Frankl, he survived the Holocaust, but
Right.
he wrote it while he was in a concentration camp, and he was saying, I think it was, call it 1942, he was saying, if you would have told me and the people here in 1922 that this would be happening to us, we would say, no, those are the barbarians from 100 years ago that would ever
Right.
do that, and now here I am, sleeping in my own filth, maybe being put into an oven, so it can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
And he said that the piece, he wrote it like, he was like in the 60s or 70s. He was like, he grew up in wartime, so all his people want peace. And he was like, it's the kids that he worries about that grow up during peace. They're just going to beg for war, always. He was like, that's just what will happen to them because they don't know anything other. He was like, but if you went through war, you don't want this. You don't want to fight anybody.
I bet it's very abstract for the people that are calling for war. It's like Lindsey Graham talking about, we got to give that money to Ukraine. Like, Lindsey Graham doesn't know jack shit about being shot at.
No.
That's a story as old as time, right?
Yeah.
The politicians sending the boys.
As old as time.
Yeah. And we do it, it seems, mostly for corporate interests. No, you don't think we're more of a corporate oligarchy? Like more than like a feudal, like you were mentioning before, the emperor, the king dies, the sons. We're kind of more, this is like a new kind of corporate oligarchy.
It's hard to just call it corporate because it's also connected to government. Like corporate and government, just like the Chinese, are inseparable now.
Right.
The amount of influence that enormous corporations have over politicians is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at these wacky bills, like the bill that just shot down that people are justifying. Like, did you look at that bill? All the different stuff that was in the bill.
No.
First of all, there's biolabs in that bill, gain of function research in that bill, 40% increase in raise for Congress in that bill, some enormous amount of money to build a stadium in Washington D.C. Like, there's a lot of nutty shit in that bill, and like, how many different people were interested in those things?
Right.
How many? Like, when you're saying biolabs, who the fuck is asking for biolabs?
Some corporation that's going to benefit from the bio.
Exactly.
What the fuck are lobby groups? Why do we have
Exactly.
lobby groups? What is that?
Well,
What
that's
is
the
that?
most expensive real estate in the country is the Virginia real estate outside of D.C. where the lobbyists live.
Yeah. K Street too.
It's
Yeah,
one
it's like
it's like that in Atherton,
Right.
where all the tech dorks live.
yeah. I mean, what is that in our system? Lobby groups,
Right,
like that
right.
should not be a thing.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's the influence of money that has gotten a hold of politics in this country. It's to try to root that out.
So then what's the best form of government then?
This
This
is
is
better
still
than
it.
This is better than anywhere
Yeah.
else in the world by far. We have the most freedom because we have the First Amendment, because we have the ability to do whatever you want to do. No one's forcing you into a marriage. No one's forcing you into labor.
Right.
You can choose your path in this country, and that's what's rare.
Right.
It's an experiment in self-government. It's not perfect. It's the best that's available. It needs to be overhauled, but it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's amendable, right? It's fluid, which is important because of human nature is not perfect. That's why I never sign on to any like ideologies, utopian theories, or because it's a mix of systems that works because human nature is so complicated and individuals are so different that one company will be run by a moral good guy, another company will be dumping toxic waste into the Hudson River, and it's like you have to regulate. Government has to step in sometimes a little bit to protect the people from nefarious things like that. You know,
right?
Especially when corporations have an obligation to make more money every year.
Yeah.
They have an obligation. They're shareholders.
Yeah.
They don't. They're out. This guy likes yachts. I like yachts. I want to keep my yacht.
Have fun.
You gotta keep making that loot.
Yeah.
How do you make that loot? You gotta fucking get rid of that shit cheaper.
Yeah.
There's a river. The guy said it's cool. Dump it in the river.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
now you
Never
can't
gonna say, "Whoops, we didn't do that."
Yeah, now you can't repair iPhones. They make you buy a new iPhone every year.
Why would I
Clothes
let you
last like
fix it?
one wash.
Right.
I mean,
Change
sell
the
you a
charging
new
port.
one.
Yeah.
Isn't it better if I sell you a new one than fix it? Fuck off with this.
Right.
It's
fixing.
and where do they put all that waste? Where does it all go?
Landfills.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a sustainable system.
Singapore has an amazing system. You ever seen Singapore's recycling system?
No.
It's fantastic. It's really wild. I mean, if they could implement that worldwide, it would be pretty phenomenal.
What do they do?
They recycle everything. Like, we don't really recycle plastic. We say we're recycling.
Right.
I'll throw it in the blue bin. I feel bad about myself. No, that's not doing a goddamn thing. That blue bin is going to go in the ground.
Right.
The only thing they really recycle is like aluminum and some metals because it's cost effective. It's too expensive to recycle plastic, so they just put it in fucking landfills.
Right.
You think you're being a good guy by throwing it into that fucking recyclable bin.
Right.
It's not getting anywhere but in the ground.
Right.
That's
but
it.
not Singapore. Singapore. See if you could find. I know we've done this before. There's a detailed description of how they do it in Singapore. They use it to make the surface of their roads. They take fucking everything. Everything. They have these waste incineration plants. They burn things off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then they take whatever is usable that they can change and recycle. They make new things out of it. They turn it into raw fuels.
Dude, it is so advanced over there. You look at that city and you go like, they started the cities in America and then they just shipped them over to the east.
Look at this. They're using this to make bricks. They're taking this stuff and they use it to pave their streets. This is all made out of this stuff that they've gotten from recycling.
So why don't we do that? We can't do it.
Well, they're
greed.
isolated, right? So they had a problem, much like Puerto Rico has a problem in that like you don't have a lot of land mass.
That's the setup that Tony needed.
Well, Tony, actually, that's where the joke came from.
I know.
Yeah.
He just needed, if he had just
He
saved
needed
it.
to not do it at a fucking political rally.
But
is
if you're
what he
going to do
needed
it, just set it up. Go, or even when it didn't work
can't
at the
set it
end,
up.
go, hey, you guys don't know about the garbage issue?
No, you can't do it.
Or you don't know about the garbage issue? Something like that, yeah. You tell me if Tony Hinchcliffe didn't live in the 1400s, he would be like a very evil prince, like living in a castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a jester.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would take people for Rome.
I think they were forced to do that. I think it was a situation where like they've got to do something because I don't think they had the same access to new materials and they just came up with a much more comprehensive way to
Better way.
Right.
Yeah.
way better. If we did it that way, we'd have so few problems with regards to waste. Demystifying Singapore's waste management system. Large part of the problem getting people to be more sustainable. They often don't understand how waste management works in their city.
That might be overstated how good their situation is.
It's also they just listen.
It's far better than ours.
Burning all
Right?
the trash
It's just
probably isn't a good idea.
Asian people
Yeah,
just
that's
listen.
not
They have a
good.
common theme and they'll just listen. You're not going to get a bunch of different people in America to just listen.
Put
Right.
that back up, please.
Right?
So I can see what they were doing it from.
I was trying to find I was going to read through it,
Oh, okay. Okay.
find the good part of it.
I think that we could definitely do it better than we're doing it. And if it costs more money, wouldn't that be better than just throwing it in the fucking ground? Like, we're so short-sighted in what we do with tax dollars, and we don't get a say in it.
And
that's what's fucked up.
And the corporations just don't plan for end of life of the product. They don't care. They just all they care about is their bottom line. They don't.
Right.
It costs money for them to consider recycling or what's going to happen with the product when it's done. They don't
I've been getting glass bottles of milk now from the supermarket because if you get this glass bottle of milk, they say the milk's better, and then I can give the glass bottle back. And number one, I get $3 back, and they said that they clean them out and they just put more milk in the glass bottle. Go old school.
I go even older school. I just still suck on my wife's tit.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's still there.
Yummy.
What is this, Jamie? Is this the garbage pile?
It's one of their landfills.
Yeah.
Their landfills are going to be full in 10 years.
Yeah, I think that's part of their problem. So that they were forced to figure out what to do with all the stuff. But their recycling program, I know, is way better than ours. You know, they're just much better at sorting things out and making it work.
Also, note in that video we watched, that city they showed was China, not Singapore.
Oh, interesting. Oh. So they're building them in Singapore, or are they taking them from Singapore and then building them in China, or is it just?
Someone made a video.
Just China,
right?
Oh, so it's horseshit.
A little bit
horseshit.
And Singapore is a country they don't fuck around, right? That's the country they'll get hit with. You'll get caned. You'll get caned. That was a big story when I was a little kid. Everyone thought they were going to get caned for gum. We get hit with bamboo sticks. Gotta hurt.
Have you heard about this story in Vietnam? This chick is like Hall of Fame level fraud. Like 54 billion. She's up there with Bernie Madoff.
What'd she do?
This chick, pull it up, Jamie. Yeah, I feel like Rogan, baby.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull her up. This chick is a woman, and she set up this elaborate scheme to steal like 12 billion, but it actually is more. And they're going to kill her.
Why didn't she have a mask on?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because they wanted to get COVID.
Yeah.
Fuck that bitch.
That's
it. What did she do?
So she set up these fake shell corporations. She was a stockholder or one of the owners of the bank, but a minority owner, and she was just funneling out money.
She's got to come up with 3/4 of what she earned or she gets killed. That's a good movie right there.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
$9 billion.
She's calling Joe.
If she does give him that much money, they just give her life in prison.
Yeah, but she's not going to come up with that money because I think it's 54 billion actually, if I remember correctly.
She embezzled 54 bill?
Yeah, I mean it's up there.
Yeah.
What did she do? It says 27 billion in this one.
27 misappropriated.
12 billion was judged to be embezzled. Most serious financial crime for which she's sentenced to death. It was a rare and shocking verdict. She's one of the very few women in Vietnam to be sentenced to death for white-collar crime. What did she do?
Yeah, I mean, we could look it
Let's
up.
find
but
the whole story.
It's amazing.
She did it through a bank.
She secretly controlled Saigon Commercial Bank, the country's 5th biggest lender, taking out loans and cash over more than 10 years through a web of shell companies amounting to a total of $44 billion.
There you go. So I was off by 10.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, that's
prosecutors say $27 billion was misappropriated. $12 billion was judged to have been embezzled. Most serious financial crime, which was sentenced to death. Tuesday, the court said there was no basis to reduce her sentence. However, she could still avoid execution if she returns $9 billion, 3/4 of the $12 billion she embezzled. That bitch had so much money.
So much.
How are you going to get $9 billion?
Give her credit.
Imagine embezzling $9 billion and being like, I need more.
Yeah.
Right.
I need 3.
I mean, that's fucking crazy.
But give her credit.
That's so much money. You could literally spend $100 million a year for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
and
you would never run out of money with all the interest and everything coming in. I mean, it's $1,000 billion, so you have $12,000 billion.
Yeah.
And you're still going.
Yeah.
Or $12,000 million rather, and you're still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so much money.
You think she's going to be able to get the $9 bill
No,
back?
she's calling friends up. They're going like, we don't know you now. Because she had conspirators with her. She had family and friends that were helping her. And, yeah, look, so there's 85 defendants were convicted. Her husband, her niece, they were given sentences. But, like, yeah, I mean, her friends.
So everybody was getting a little taste.
Everyone was getting a little piece.
A little taste.
It was a score.
Fun. Nice score.
It was a nice score.
Boy,
and
imagine.
to pull that off in communist Vietnam, that I know they have a little bit of a, perestroika kind of mixed economy now, but you got to give her credit as a woman. That's achievement right there.
It is achievement. I wonder how she got caught. I wonder what was the thing she fucked up on.
She probably bought a diamond ring. You know, those chicks like diamonds.
Did something.
She had a fucking giant Rolls Royce.
Yeah, the kid in
driver.
crypto who got caught.
Crypto?
He stole a bunch of money from crypto and got caught doing something dumb. He was just buying Lambos, but wasting all the money.
Somebody just.
What do you mean? What Lambos is? How are you supposed to spend the money if you make it on crypto?
No, but he stole like billions of dollars.
That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah,
if you make billions of dollars on crypto and you don't have a Lambo, you're an asshole.
That's how you get caught, though.
Somebody sent me an email the other day and said that they have they hacked into my phone and
Jamie,
computer,
put that back up.
and they have videos of me doing disgusting things and jerking off and all that. And they said the only way that they can make it go away is and they gave me a link and they said I have to pay them in Bitcoin. I have to pay them in all this Bitcoin. So I was just like, I mean, I didn't obviously do it, but I was just like, Show me the video.
Yeah.
Show it to me.
Yeah, I
I'll
don't care.
repost. At this point, as comics, I would
repost it.
repost
Yeah.
it. I would repost it with fucking links to my dates.
I just wanted you to see how wild this is. The government does not publish how many people are on death row in Vietnam. Human rights groups say there's thousands. It's a state secret.
Speaking of crypto, what's going on with that Hawk Tua chick? She going to jail?
What happened now? What happened to Hawk Tua? That's
no
my
one's heard
girl.
from her.
Well,
what did she do?
For over 300 hours, I think.
What does that mean?
She went to sleep and she hasn't woken
What
up.
did she
She
do?
just hasn't been on social media, you mean? It's not like she's hiding.
A coin was launched with her meme and she was like the front of it. I don't know all the details.
Is
on
that a
how
crime?
involved She was. Well,
No.
The pump and dump might be the crime.
The thing was, there was an enormous amount of money that was put into this meme coin by all these people, and then she or someone representing her side of it sold, like instantaneously, and made a huge score, and then the coin was worth nothing. So all those people that invested money, like one guy invested $1 million. Like imagine you're like, the Hawk Tour girl, yeah, that's a sound investment.
Yeah.
That seems like a good place to put my nest egg.
Some people for sure lost money, but it was definitely a time to just troll and be like, "Oh, I'm such an idiot. I lost $10 million on this," because I felt like people were trolling the whole movement of like being dumb and following Hawk Tua. But some people did lose money. I don't want to.
Is she actually going to
Right.
go to jail for real? Who knows?
Can
the SEC invest crypto like that? I guess they can now,
what
right?
she knew and what she did.
Well, it's like, what are the rules?
What
What
are
are
the
the rules in terms of like, are you allowed to do that? Like, is that unethical but legal? Like, are you
Yeah.
allowed to have a meme coin and it gets to like $100 million? You have a bunch of it, you just sell it all, and you make $50 million bucks? Are you allowed to do that? If you're
don't
not
know.
allowed to do that, what's the point in having $50 million bucks? Like, do you not have trust in the Hawk Tua coin if I sell it? That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's on you. That's on me.
I mean, you have
I
trust
did
in-
the smart thing,
Right.
and I got out when I thought it was a good price.
Yeah.
And I'm selling it to people. They
Yeah.
should take that and run with it, and this would be the next currency of the world.
I invested-
Imagine, like,
Hawk Tua?
if you think Idiocracy is, if it's a documentary, imagine if the Hawk Tua girl, it overcomes fucking fiat currency.
Well, have you ever seen how many coins there are? How many cryptocurrencies
bunch.
there are? And they have some of them have really funny names.
Dude,
and
the one of
people
them was
trade
called,
them.
One of them was called Buttcoin.
Yeah.
I put 250 bucks in.
Judge. Hawk Tua girls. I like how her name is just Hawk Tua girl.
Yeah.
Her name's Haley. Oh yeah, Haley
Yeah.
Welch. Yeah.
Biz partners are getting sued over the meme coin disaster. Okay, the partners are doing it. So it was probably some people she got invested in. She probably doesn't understand all that stuff. She's only 22 or something like that.
Right.
It was probably the partners that went with her. They pump and dumped on her, and then she's left holding the bill because nobody knows who they are. So scroll up. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Legal firm of Burnwick Laws filed a U.S. federal lawsuit on behalf of the investors against the creators of the influencer-pushed Hawk Tua meme coin, which fell on its face in the hours following its launch. Haley Welch, who gained notoriety this year with the Hawk Tua girl following a viral interview about sexual technique, facing a disastrous Solana meme coin launch at the start of the month. Not only did the price collapse by 93% from a $490 million peak. Holy shit. $490 million peak market cap for a Hawk Tua coin, with the rug pull allegations quickly surfacing, but a cluster of connected wallets holding 96% of the supply led to further controversy. The hate only increased when it was found that some of the wallets were selling. Quickly, Berwick Law posted on Twitter asking for Hawk buyers impacted by the plunge to step forward to create a potential lawsuit. Now, 2 weeks later, the lawsuit has been filed, naming 12 American resident plaintiffs who claim to have collectively suffered damages in excess of $151,000.
If I lost $1 million, I'd be in that fast.
Yeah, that's weird. Isn't that weird? Like, there's only 12 people, and they've only lost 151 total. I wonder how many people, like, all told, invested in the Hawk Tua coin. How many stone-cold retards are out there roaming the world?
Oh, no, but this is inspiring. Should we do a history hyenas coin?
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
do it, and
Yeah.
then...
Do it. Yeah.
No. Don't listen to Jamie.
Yeah.
Do it, get it real high, and then sell. Make the money.
Yeah.
Just
it.
fuck all those dummies that are buying your stupid fucking coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're announcing it right now. The history hyenas coin will be available. We're going to launch it.
This is how you do it.
Yeah.
You can. This is a win-win for everybody. You're going to have a history of hyenas coin, but the only way to purchase it is with the Hawk Tua coin.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Smart.
Right. So
That way, everybody's a winner.
everyone's a winner.
Now, all of a
Everybody's a
sudden,
winner.
the coin
Yeah.
makes a comeback.
Yeah.
Both of you grow. The
Yeah.
rising tide lifts
Yeah.
all boats.
Yeah.
And we could finally get Hawk Tua on our show that way.
Yeah.
This went viral. This is a video of a kid. He's in his house streaming. He was streaming this online. He started a coin and then pump and dump it.
Look at this
guy.
guy.
He made like 50 grand while it happened.
He's pumping and dumping it in front of everybody.
He starts freaking out here as he watches it go up.
Right.
And he got to how quickly did he dump?
He doesn't even know what's
He
going
dumps
on.
it into this video is a minute long.
He dumped it in the Mini?
He's watching it go up right now.
Wait, what?
He just recognized.
How old is this kid?
I think
Wait,
13.
what?
Maybe
Wait,
15.
I'm so confused.
Oh, yo, it's nuked. Why is it nuked?
There's people watching
way.
this too. That's the other voices you're hearing.
Oh, holy fuck! Holy fuck!
You full clip.
Holy fuck!
He just dumped it. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yo, 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 yo,
So
He has no idea he's committed a crime.
Is that a crime?
Yeah.
What is a crime? How does it work?
So much
How
of this
come Nancy
now-
Pelosi can make all that money?
Everyone knows
How's
this
that
is
not a
pump and
crime?
dump
Yeah, I
stuff,
don't
so
understand what the
understand-
crimes are.
I don't understand.
I don't
either.
understand.
I don't get
There's
it.
an SEC regulation against that. Yeah, you got
Is
it.
there?
Yeah, I
you
mean,
sure?
we can look it up. Yeah, I
But
work
what
for the
about like when
SEC.
Tom Brady and Larry David got in trouble for the FTX thing, and they were just promoting doing a commercial? How are they in trouble for promoting a coin?
Well,
I never
it
understood
remains
that.
to be seen whether or not they'll be charged or whether be found guilty.
But how could they even be
Because
remotely?
someone lost a bunch of money and they said, Larry David, I trusted you.
Right.
You were promoting this thing that I think is good. That's the reason why I've never promoted any of those.
Because
I've had offers to promote things like
For
that.
real money.
I'm not interested. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
If I don't understand it, like you're selling what? You're selling NFTs? What does that mean? It's a non-fungible token. We're done. I don't know what you're saying.
Right.
I'm not doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like too many fucking bros that are out there doing this, that, you know, the Lambo drivers.
Right.
It's like a fuckery culture.
So, do you understand crypto fully, or is it still one of those things like?
Oh, I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it. It's just like it's weird that anybody would invest actual real money in it. I
Right.
understand Bitcoin more than all the other ones, but even Bitcoin is mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird. I mean, they don't even know who made it. There's all these. There's a whole documentary on Satoshi Nakamoto, whose real the identity is. And
Yeah.
it's all controversial.
Yeah.
That's weird. You know, the fact that there's a certain stable amount of them, though, that's encouraging. You know, that you
Right.
can't make more of them. Okay.
But that's exactly what artists do to give their art value. That's how you do. You limit the supply, and then these are only 10 original paintings, and this is what I'm charging because there's only 10 prints of these, and so you create the value by the scarcity.
Right.
So there's nothing mysterious about that.
Sort of, but it also limits the ability to add coins to it anytime you want and devalue it.
Right.
Right. So that's what's more important than
Right.
like making it scarce so people like it more. It is weird that we used to be on a gold standard and then now we're just on hard drives and we just sort of accept it. And then the government, like when they want to send money to Ukraine, forget about the fact that we're trillions of dollars in debt. They could just come up with $179 billion and ship it over to some country. Yay, go have a good time.
Right.
And, you know, there's wild reports about the amount of corruption that this money is experiencing. I mean, this money has probably gone through more people's noses and, you know, and come out of more people's dicks. Like, how much,
Right.
where's this money going? It's so much. There's no way it's 100% efficient.
Yeah.
You have Bitcoin,
Not that
Yannis?
part of the world.
No, I don't understand it. So much like Joe, I just don't.
Stay away.
Yeah, I just stay away.
Yeah.
It's like when someone explains curling to me. You know the sport curling?
Sure.
I'm like, I don't. Even when I get the rules, I'm like, I still don't understand what's
You
going
know,
on.
I was in Newfoundland. I did a show up there once, and the place that was at was like a place. It was in like a theater, and in this theater, apparently they have like curling shows. And so, like, and you're walking down the hallway in the back before you go on stage, there's all these fucking photos of people curling. And I just went out there and started shitting on curling, like, right away. And they were so bummed out. They were so bummed out that
It's like it looks like the Housekeeper Olympics or something. Yeah, they're
it's
just sweeping the
so
ice.
dumb.
Yeah.
It's such a dumb
sport.
It's like bowling for retards.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like regular bowling is too complicated.
Yeah.
Right. But they're good. I mean, there's people that are good at it.
Well,
I don't know how you're good at it, but
I kind of get it because it's kind of like billiards, right? Or pool. You're rolling this thing. You're trying to like just roll it just enough. Just this feel. You get this feel to it. You're just like, let it go now.
Right.
Let it slide. Sweep it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the friction. Sweep
So
in
that's
front
what
of
they're doing.
Sweep
They're
in
getting
front of
friction.
it.
Ah.
Yeah, that's what they're sweeping. They're trying to get rid of the friction.
Right.
They don't need dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't need snow dust.
Right. It's
From their
stupid.
skates. It's so stupid.
It's stupid. Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
But if you grow up and there's nothing to do and you suck at hockey,
Yeah.
Just curl.
you play that.
I guess it's the golfing of ice sports.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't. Golfing's way more complex.
Yeah, but I just
Golfing's-
mean like you don't need any real athletic talent to do it. Like, how do you retire?
You don't think you
from
need
golfing?
athletic
Do you
talent
golf?
from golfing? For golfing?
Not really.
You definitely do. For the drive.
You see these guys'
the
bodies?
Yeah. But the coordination of your body to drive a golf ball. Like Jamie's a nut. Jamie, tell him
I know, but
how
I was
much
about
it
to
is.
say like there's guys that are like paralyzed that can still golf.
Yeah, I mean it's really like.
How do you golf with your mind? Like,
No,
what are you
I
saying?
mean they can literally just swing an arm. They're strapped into a contraption that sets them upright and points them right.
Yeah.
I've seen blind people golf.
I mean Nate Bargatze
Right.
golfs. He's good. Look at his body. He's got tits.
But here's my
I know
point.
what your point. To hit it 400 yards, that's 100% athletic, and
Yeah.
you can't just accidentally do that.
Yeah, I mean, even John Daly. You can say John Daly's fat and all that stuff, but John Daly, when you watch him move, the efficiency of
for
his
sure.
movements. You know, like
For
we were
sure.
talking about Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's a big guy, but he
Yeah.
still fuck people up, right?
Yeah.
It's still an athlete.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like a lot of these fat golfers, there's
Fuck you
a
up.
thing they know how to do.
Right.
They whack that ball and they know exactly how to fucking put a little spin on that motherfucker, a little wrist action on that.
The
stuff.
difference between pro and being able to play the game is like
It's different.
Yeah,
Right,
being a
right,
banker
right,
and playing
right.
Monopoly.
Some
something
like
that.
you ever seen Bartolo Colon, the pitcher for the Mets?
No.
Oh, look at Google.
I thought that was a cologne you were talking about.
Bartolo Colon. that
This
is.
guy's body's the
Look at
best.
Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
If you pull up Bartolo, I mean, look at this guy, and
yeah.
he just threw heat in the majors,
Jesus
and he would just, and he was fun about it. He was fun about being fat. He would sit in the locker room with no shirt on, eating cheeseburgers. Nobody gave a shit. And
Wow.
look at that one with the helmet flying off his head.
Well, as long as you're good at that sport.
He was good.
And that sport is a sport that doesn't require endurance. That's what's important.
No.
You don't have to do anything for a prolonged period of time.
No.
The furthest thing you have to do is run to a base.
Yeah.
And if you got to run to all of them, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What did you do? Generally, if you're running to all of them, you can kind of trot because
Yeah.
you knocked it out of the park.
Right.
What do you think the sport that requires the most endurance? Obviously, not thinking about like long distance running because that's obvious, but like, you know what I think it is?
What?
I think hockey.
Well, soccer, too.
Yeah, but the hockey, you notice how those guys can only be on the ice for like
2-minute
2
shifts.
minutes, and because it's so hard to skate like that.
Can't do it.
Yeah, they
right.
just
Good
can't-
point. Good
they
point.
can't do
Soccer
it.
players stay on the field the whole game.
Yeah, because they get to rest and slow
Yeah.
down.
Even the best,
Yeah.
Gretzky, they can't. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
They can't do
That's
it.
crazy.
It's crazy.
They
That
have
is
4
crazy.
lines, I think.
Yeah.
So when they go 2 minutes, how much they take off before they go back?
I think it's like another minute or two, but it's multiple lines. Like like
they
that.
just constantly go on and off because they just can't because they have to continuously skate.
Can you imagine what a hockey game would look like if they never let them use the bench?
Oh, that would be
Oh my God, it'd be
hilarious.
insane.
Yeah.
People would drop dead.
Yeah, they would just drop dead.
That would
dude.
be wild.
Yeah, they would be dropped
Have you
dead.
ever seen hockey live? An NHL
Yeah.
that to me, besides MMA, I saw an MMA fight once. That was amazing. And then second is NHL.
It's very fast.
NHL, those guys on skates, whether you know the rules or not, it's amazing.
It's
it really
a very, very fast game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And the skill to be able
Oh.
to skate. I can barely skate at all. I'm barely standing up. These
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And it's the only sport where you're allowed to fist fight in.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's written into the rules.
Yeah. It's
encouraged.
You're allowed to duke it out,
Yeah.
which is so crazy that
Yeah.
that's the only one.
Yeah, because I think people don't really know where the puck is. And so everyone's just waiting around for a fight.
you have no
'Cause
idea.
it's grandfathered in the punching each other.
Has anyone ever seen a goal when it actually happened in
No.
real time? It happens too fast. That's why they have the siren on top of the goal.
Well, you know what I really like on TV where they have that circle over it, so that you
Yeah.
know where the puck is at
Yeah.
all times. Like
Yeah.
just a lot of craziness happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like if you're watching a football game from like the 30th row, and you're looking down, like, what happened? Who's got the ball?
Yeah.
Like after after the ball gets hiked, it's like where'd it go? Did
Yeah.
it go to him? They're faking you out. You don't know
Right.
unless you see the guy throw it.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And what about like old hockey goalies would do it with no helmet and just get the puck, and then we have
Oh,
athletes.
you see those faces?
Their
The way their
faces.
faces used to look?
Do you think
Yeah.
those guys ever sat on the bench and talked about mental health?
Nobody told them what it was.
No, they didn't know.
No, I don't think so.
You think they ever
Yeah.
talked about their mental health?
I think they had some struggles with it, though.
Oh, yeah.
taking a couple of shots to the head.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, yeah, of course. I mean,
No
it got to be
question.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, look at
more than
that.
die.
I mean, the guy's blocking it with his face.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's just what it
that's
is.
All the scars that he had on his face from his entire career.
Terry Sawchuk. That sounds like just a badass name.
Yeah.
That is a face, man.
Look at that, dude.
Imagine
yeah.
if that guy gets mad at you in the bar. You're like, yes, sir, bye.
Yeah,
I don't
gotta
want.
go.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, I
That's
don't
a
want-
guy who's seen some.
Who do you
fucking
think is
shit.
the?
Oh, Jesus! Look at his face.
Yeah.
Oh, and he had a mask on. It broke the mask.
Ugh.
Fucked his face up. Jesus
They
Christ.
flick that thing. It's so hard right at your face.
so fast.
Yeah.
Who's the scariest warrior, like from history, you would never want to go up against? Like, would it be like, you know, like a wild Native American on the plains, a guy from Genghis Khan, a Nazi? Who would you be like, shit, this guy's gonna fucking kill me and it's gonna hurt?
The Vikings. 'Cause They were the biggest,
You
and they
think?
were on mushrooms.
Dude, but
Is that true?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Those Iceland guys that win the world's strongest man competition all the time, like those guys like the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Where do you think that gene line came from?
Vikings.
100%. Those were the dudes that were in that fucking boat with the dragon head at the front, and when they pulled up at your shore, everybody just ran.
Yeah.
That's it.
But can I just nominate someone?
Yes.
Who I've been thinking about? I mean, it's obviously not underrated because everyone knows about him, but let's just talk about the record. Alexander the Great, who led his troops undefeated in battle. He's the Floyd Mayweather of generals. Undefeated.
That's crazy.
Record. Never lost a battle.
That's crazy.
That's true.
And conquered the known world at that time, took down the mighty Persian Empire.
But if the Vikings were alive back then, they might kill him and his little boyfriend too.
They had enough of them.
I
There was
think
enough
so,
of
dude.
them.
Yeah.
They killed each other a lot too, unfortunately.
And they were
Vikings.
civilized, the Vikings too. It wasn't. Well, but did you ever see the biological warfare when they would light the? I read this thing where they would the rats on their boat when they were going to whatever wherever they were invading. They would wait. They would look for infected rats. Somehow they knew they would get close enough. They would light their tails on fire and then shoot them over the walls and then let the rats run around and infect people and bite people or whatever and wait it out for like 40 days and just then go in when the town was all dying of some disease.
Whoa.
It's another.
That's
a
dark.
fact.
The
baby.
Vikings
That's real.
were brutal. They would even kill like the priests and the churches. They would do bad stuff.
Have you ever seen Alexander the Great's ruins in Afghanistan?
In person?
Dude, not in
I don't
person.
want to go to
Photographs.
Afghanistan.
Photographs.
Oh, no.
Nobody
No.
wants to go to Afghanistan.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the problem.
No.
Archaeologists can't go there to study them.
Yeah.
But they have ancient Greek cities.
I know.
They look like beautiful ancient Greek cities
Yeah.
Right.
that are in the middle of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's sick.
My friend who served over there was telling me about it.
Yeah.
He's like, you go there, you can't believe what you're seeing. He had a bunch of pictures of it. It's
Yeah.
like, this is the craziest thing. It's like you're in Athens.
gotta
but you're
admit-
not.
Crazy.
The Greeks kind of nailed some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
My people kind of democracy.
You know what you really should read?
Yeah.
The Immortality Key. Have you read that?
No.
It's Brian Murarescu. He's a scholar who was studying the use of psychedelic drugs in ancient Greece, where the Eleusinian Mysteries,
heard of this.
where everybody would go to learn about democracy and like they were all like tripping balls.
Yeah.
And they've found evidence now from these vessels, these pottery vessels, that inside these vessels they were drinking wine, but it wasn't wine. The wine wasn't just alcohol. They would mix it with a bunch of different psychedelic compounds, and one of them was ergot. So they found residue of ergot, which is a psychedelic that gives you like an LSD-like experience. So they were all drinking wine and tripping balls and figuring out democracy and, like fucking the stars and constellations. They were out of their heads.
Yeah. You
And
have to
the
almost.
birthplace of so much of Western society has come from that one spot.
Yeah.
When's the last time you
Thousands of
banged out a
years
little
ago.
LSD?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. You think you'll bang it out again one day before you go?
I would like it to be legal before I admit to that.
Oh, right, all right.
This is what I think.
Oh, I thought LSD was
have
legal.
No. Super illegal.
Oh, all right.
Schedule 1. When we realize the benefits of these things, and hopefully it's within our lifetime, especially for people that have PTSD, like soldiers, that'll open the door for that. And then they'll have clinics where regular people can use it, and then they can get over a lot of the shit that people are struggling with. There's a lot of people that could have a psychedelic experience and snap themselves back onto a better course in life. And if it's illegal, that number of people is going to be very limited.
Right.
But like all things, it's going to have side effects. This is the thing. It's like there's no biological free lunch. And if you're doing something that's blowing your brains out, like LSD, there's a certain amount of people who aren't coming back.
Right.
Right.
And that's real, because there's a certain amount of people who have a very fragile grasp on reality as it is.
Right.
You give that person 9 grams of psilocybin mushrooms, and you've got a real fucking problem. They might not ever come back.
Were you able to snap back quick?
You can snap back.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing, and when you're doing it, what time in your life, and what the experience was like. But it should be something that's controlled. It should be something that where you have places you can go where they have a very strict protocol. They measure your weight. They know what the dose is to give you. You can do it in a calm and clean and safe setting. They're regulated. They have counselors. They have people that understand. They screen you to make sure that you're not on any psych medications first that would interfere with it. That's what we should have, just like we have hospitals, just like we have mental health institutes. There should be psychedelic research centers that are connected to treatment facilities.
Right.
There you go.
I want to do it. I mean, that's what ketamine therapy is in some small ways, right?
Exactly. It's very psychedelic. In fact, John Lilly, the guy who created a sensory deprivation tank, that was his vibe. He used to like to do ketamine in there. He would do intramuscular ketamine. So he would go into the sensory deprivation tank and fucking bang himself with ketamine into the muscles because it would last a long time and just... it would just fucking exist in this other dimension for hours at a time. Yeah, that was his thing.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I want to hit a. We should do a sensory deprivation tank together.
I have one.
He's got one here.
You have one here?
Yeah.
You want to hit it?
No.
Oh,
yeah.
He won't do it. See, he gets a little. He won't
I
do
get a
it.
little scared of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth being scared.
Yeah.
But that's not dangerous. It's not scary. Like whatever weird feelings you have, if you can't handle it, all you have to do is open the door and you're sober instantaneously.
Right.
It's different than anything else.
Right.
But if it was a drug, if the sensory deprivation tank was a drug, it would be a very psychedelic drug.
Right.
If it was just a drug, when you lay in there and your eyes are wide open, but it's pitch black and you're floating, you're completely weightless. If that was a drug, it'd be a very popular drug.
Now, when you've done this stuff, have most people seem to say their ego disappears over the horizon type of stuff? They realize everything's connected. Have you had that experience?
You definitely realize everything's connected. And your ego, you realize, is both protecting you and holding you back. Because your ego is like, you need a little bit of ego if you want to make it in life. Because you need to have enough confidence in yourself that you ask the girl out on a date that you're attracted to, or that you chase the job that you want, or that you like stand up for yourself when you feel like you're getting fucked over in a business deal. Like, you need some ego. You can't be completely selfless. You're not going to get anywhere. But then you have to realize that you're very fragile, and your ego is protecting you from a lot of like true understanding of the life experience.
Right.
And one of the most profound things that happens with psychedelic experiences is the complete dissolving of ego. And then you kind of see yourself and everyone around you in a way more objective way. And you realize, like, oh my God, we're all energy, like feeding off of each other. And we're pretending that we're isolated and we're singular. We're on our own. That's why like really ill people will tell you, I don't have any friends. I don't like people. I don't want to be around people. I don't, if you've got a guy who's a fighter pilot, it's like, I don't hang around with fighter pilots. Like, he's probably really depressed. Like, something's wrong with them. If you don't hang out with your peers, if you don't have friends, you don't enjoy camaraderie and community, you want to pretend that you're like this isolated, like dark poet or something like that, you're probably very mentally ill.
Yeah.
There's probably something really wrong with you.
Well, we're hardwired social species.
100%. And we enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
We feed off of it. It's the worst thing they can do for you in jail is put you in solitary confinement. The worst thing they can do. You're in a giant cage filled with prisoners and rapists and murderers. The worst thing they could do is leave you alone.
Well, that's why I believe the internet's bad, is because it's fake community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why people talk like a fake way.
Right.
They don't talk like they would ever talk if they were right in front of people.
Right. And that's why I think it's bad, because it's messing with people's sense of what reality is.
Yeah.
And people are essentially disassociating when they're on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a very shallow way to communicate. And I think that if you do it like that all the time, your ability to communicate normally and the ability to socialize and just have conversations with people gets severely stunted. Like, you don't flex that. You don't use that muscle, and it atrophies just like everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many kids that are like completely socially disconnected other than the internet, which keeps them connected. So they're socially connected through technology, but completely disconnected through like human touch, being around people, fun conversation, adventure, doing fun things.
Yeah.
They just exist in the same area and just get as much coming through the screen as they can.
Yeah. And it's
crazy.
It's fake. It's not real.
Yeah.
That's what's troubling, and that's what I worry about my kids. I go, like,
Right.
I want them to have human connection, long conversations, experience people's energy. Looking at someone in the eyes is everything.
Yeah.
You know, feeling someone's energy, like you said. It's you don't feel anything on
The
the
problem
internet.
also with kids is even when they're together, they're on their phones all the time.
That's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And this is one thing about podcasts that's fucking amazing, because podcasts are one of the rare times in my life where for 3 hours I have no phone.
Yeah.
For 3 hours, unless I'm checking something or sending Jamie something, I don't.
And the people listening are also doing the same thing. They're
Right.
connecting to you without doing that. They're just connecting to hearing
Yeah.
you.
Right.
It's like a long radio show. They're not like
Beautiful.
flipping through, scrolling, talking to other people, and they're talking back, and everyone's pretending like there's somebody else and catfishing each other.
That's why I always used to like planes back in the day before Wi-Fi came around. Because when you were on a plane, if you didn't have a movie to watch or something like that, you just had to sit in that seat. And when you just sit in that seat and you know you can't go anywhere, I would get my best writing done.
Right.
My best writing, because I like forced to write.
Sure.
So, like, I'm forced. There's no Wi-Fi.
Have you ever tried to go to the bathroom without your phone, though?
Oh, it's horrible.
I can't even pee. My it doesn't even
it's
work.
Impossible. Yeah.
My detrusor muscle or whatever that muscle is that pushes out your pee, it won't come out.
If I got to poop really
I
bad
cannot
and I
do it.
only got like 1%, I will go plug it in and hold
Yeah.
my shit until I can get enough to shit through.
I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah.
That's why there's a. I bet you there's a spike in anxiety when we ask or people ask to have their phones put away at a comedy show or a music show, whatever.
Oh, for
I
sure.
bet you their anxiety goes through the roof
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're like, I can't.
Oh, people complain all the time.
Yeah.
It's the best thing, and you do that at the mothership, right?
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's the best thing.
Yeah.
It's better for everybody, too.
yeah.
It's better for the audience member. It's better for you. It's better for everybody.
Yeah. If you were going to get eaten by, would you rather it be an animal or a human?
Yeah.
Oh, boy,
You have to
animal.
get eaten.
An animal.
You don't want a cannibal to
Yeah, I
eat
don't
you?
want some guy knowing he's eating me.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
You don't want him to have that
That's
power.
interesting.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alligator. Crocodile.
Quick. It would
Yeah.
be quick. How
Why,
about a
'cause they
hippo?
Just
Hippo would
snap you in half. You'd
Yeah.
be dead in
They
seconds.
drown you, right?
Yeah, they just rip you apart.
You don't want hyenas to eat you.
No.
You do
Why?
not want that.
Because what do they
no,
do? They
no,
eat from
no,
the back. They
Because
eat
they
you
have
alive.
they have
Tear you
no
apart.
concern about putting you down, killing you. Like a tiger, a cat will kill you.
Yeah.
Make sure you're dead before it eats you. Hyenas just start eating you.
Yeah, same as bears.
Yeah.
Bears just
They
start
just start eating you.
Just start
Yeah,
eating
they
you,
start
yeah.
eating you. Wolves just
Yeah.
start eating you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't hyenas then throw up the food and then eat their puke?
Yeah,
that's how they're
the
nourish
only
themselves.
animal.
It's a true story.
Yeah, they're the only animal that eats the full bone. Only animal on the planet that pulverizes the bone. Their jaw strength is such that they pulverize the bone and consume the bone as well. So when they're done, there's no carcass. They're the fucking best animal on the planet. They got pseudo penises. They're trans.
Transgender animals.
They're fucking wild.
I had
The
a
women
bit
are
about
bigger
it.
than the men. I loved your bit about it.
They smell
Yeah.
too bad.
And we started the podcast because hyenas have always been my favorite animal. And we both loved history, and so we just combined those two things. But hyenas are hilarious, dude.
What was
By
your bit
any
about
means-
hyenas? I didn't hear
It was great. It was a long bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a long bit.
It was a
yeah.
But
good
it's,
bit.
It's basically about their matriarchal power structure.
And why that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's also they had to do that because male hyenas are such cunts. They'd probably eat the babies.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah, they're monsters. It's but they're like a medium-sized animal in a world of things way bigger than them.
Yeah.
So they're living around lions.
They get it
right.
done. They
yeah.
they trick
Numbers,
you,
yep.
numbers. They confuse you. They're opportunity killers. They love to kill, to steal kills.
That laughing is real. That cackle.
Yeah, and
that's a
they
real
don't
thing.
really know what it is either. They don't actually know
Seems
what
like they're
exactly.
having fun.
Yeah, it sounds like
Just-
they're having a good time.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah,
having
and
fun.
excited.
They're fucking
You think
brutal.
lions are like these fucking hyenas again?
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, the hyenas just spoil fun. They show up and
Yeah.
you're like, these fuck. You ever see when like a cheetah works so hard?
Yeah.
Because cheetahs fail all the time. And then they finally get a kill, and then you just hear the you just hear that, and the cheetah's probably going, motherfucker. And they just come and they just steal it.
That whole area, when you think about it, is like the proving ground for like biological life.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to keep the populations in order? How are you going to make sure the predators don't get out of hand? How you make sure that the hyenas always have to worry about the male lions? Look at that face.
Yeah.
man. Look at that face.
Yeah.
That face is so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to get eaten by that.
Crushing jaw muscles.
I think.
Oh my God! Look at that face.
Yeah.
That's so nuts.
They're hilarious.
Imagine that's the last thing you see before you get eaten.
Yeah, I don't know why they're funny to
apart.
me. Yeah.
How many people die from hyenas every year?
They eat a lot of people.
Do they?
You ever remember that picture that we saw of a hyena? It's got an elephant's foot in its mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just running around with an elephant's
That was
fucking monsters.
That was actually our first logo. We put our faces on that.
And then we tried to sell merch at it, and people were like, I'm not buying this bloody hyena
Yeah,
face.
and
Fucking
also
idiots.
it's not our picture to sell.
Jamie, how many people die from hyenas every year? Hippos kill the most people in Africa, right?
Do they?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe hippos are responsible for the most deaths in Africa.
What are they like? Is there a village or something that like lives close to the
I
hippos
think
in
if
Africa?
you fuck around and you get in the water near hippos, you ever see the hippos chasing boats?
Yeah,
They'll
they're-
chase boats. It
they're
looks like a
I never
fucking
saw-
submarine.
Super territorial.
Yeah, they're rough, man.
Yeah.
You think of them as hungry hippo.
Yeah.
Well, we make the most monstrous animals the cutest.
Yeah.
Polar
Yeah.
bears,
Yeah.
hippos,
Yeah. Yeah.
yogi.
Yeah,
They'll
teddy
kill you.
bears. Yeah, every kid has a teddy bear. You're like, you don't want
Tony
a
the
real
tiger?
bear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Tony
Yeah.
the tiger.
Yeah.
How many people every year die? Let's take a guess before we find
Okay.
out. How many people die from hyenas
You
every
ready
year?
for this? I'm going to say that I think in the world, 50 people die of hyenas, and I think 75 die of cannibals.
Whoa.
That's what I think. More people get eaten by other people than hyenas.
Wow.
50 and 75 is my guessy Wessie.
How would you'd have to count into places where people do it for revenge too, like Haiti, where they eat people for fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That counts. Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
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 How many? I think there's a very low number of cannibals every year where people get eaten by cannibals. I would say it's less than 20 people eaten by cannibals. This is my guess. And maybe 75 people every year die from hyenas.
I'm going to go 800 to 1,000.
Hyenas?
On the whole continent, Serengeti, yeah. I mean, Africa, yeah. I'm going to go
every year?
1,000, yeah. I'm going to go 1,000. Wow. Yeah.
What about cannibals?
Cannibals, I think, is a lot higher. I mean, how are we ever going to get that number? Nobody
Right.
eats somebody and then goes and reports it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's impossible to know.
Right.
But I think hyenas you can track, and I think they probably get hundreds.
But ask Google, because Google
Yeah.
tells you the truth.
I bet it's not
ChatGPT
that
lies.
many.
Yeah.
I bet it's not that many.
What do we got? Oh.
I was trying to find a good answer. It took me a while to find an answer. I found one story where a guy was killed by someone that said it was the 60th in that year, but I didn't know what year it was.
60th hyena or cannibal?
Hyena death in that
Okay.
year.
I was
Wow.
Person,
I said 50.
Sorry, person killed by hyenas. I should, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this 1998 to 99, 50 people were attacked by hyenas, with 35 being children, 12 people killed.
Ooh, only 12 killed.
I don't want.
Yeah, I'm not seeing tons of good info.
All right, so I was wrong.
If you're in that part of the world, you better be packing everywhere you go.
Yeah.
We need it.
Bulletproof vest, shotgun, big Bowie knife, fucking everything.
Yep.
You're walking around hyena country, you better be ready to spray.
Yeah.
It says their attacks are actually kind of rare.
Oh, okay.
Hyena attacks?
All right. Who gets people the most over there? Hippos?
Lions, maybe?
No, hippos, he said.
I
Yeah?
think hippos.
Yeah.
I think hippos are responsible for the most deaths in Africa every year.
But you know who really is responsible for most deaths in Africa?
Humans.
Mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of
mosquitoes.
course.
yeah.
Which is
Those little
so
fuckers.
crazy. The
They've killed
smallest-
half of all the people that have ever died.
Yeah, mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes have, right?
Yeah. Mosquitoes have killed half of the people that have ever
Yeah.
died.
It's crazy.
Malaria.
Yeah, the most dangerous animal on the planet.
It
is
makes you think,
mosquito.
like, is this our planet or is it their planet?
Yeah.
Hippopotamus, animal that kills the most people in Africa with an estimated 500 deaths
Wow.
per year. Fuck. 500 people get hippoed every year.
20 miles an hour they can run?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
bro.
real shit.
Oh, it's real shit. If you have a bad knee, you're in real trouble.
Yeah.
Cape buffalo, they kill a bunch of people every year. Puff adder.
Okay.
That's a snake.
Snake makes sense.
How many people do you think die from African lions every year?
I was thinking it was going to be a lot, like 100, but I guess I'm wrong.
Well, if hippos are 500, it can't be 100. Like, let's just guess. How many people die from lions?
If
I'll
hyenas
say
are, I'm going to say 18.
18 from.
Yeah, because
think more people die from hyenas than lions.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that was like in the 80s, and it was only 12 people died.
But who's
right?
getting close to the lions like this?
Assholes.
Well, they also live out there. I mean, they did a lot of tribes like live out there. They're close by.
There's a tribe, there's a village in Africa, I saw it was on Nat Geo, that hyenas come in and get fed there.
Yeah, I saw
Hyenas
that.
walk into, you saw that, right? Where
Yeah.
they
So they have
actually
a
feed
deal?
them. So they have a deal, and it actually, they believe, helps keep them safe because the hyenas know they don't have to kill anyone, they'll just get the food.
Yeah, these are good. These are coffee.
Ooh, nice.
They're breakers.
Yeah.
I think that's probably smart. Like, make friends with the hyenas.
Why not?
You know, a
They
lot of guys try to
understand.
keep them as pets. You ever see the dudes who walk around with them with chains on them
Yeah.
and shit?
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
That's a gangster move. You walk around with a fucking hyena because
Yeah.
they're big too.
Dude, if we ever do
What's
like
a hyena, like $150? So it's like a mastiff looking size.
Yeah, it's kind of like probably German Shepherd or Mastiff looking.
Bigger than a shepherd, right?
Probably. I don't know
pretty
because
fucking
they're like wide. They're not that. Like they're kind of compact. So I don't know. I don't know what they're.
Can you get them in the U.S.? You can't get a hyena in here, right?
Maybe you get them in Texas.
Yeah.
You
Or
can get
Florida.
one.
Texas has a lot of shit here.
Like, could you bring one out on stage on a show? Like, if you've got clearance,
If you were
can't do
Ted
that?
Ted Nugent in Texas could bring hyenas on stage.
He'll bring one out.
He used to ride a buffalo when he was on stage. You ever
Did
see
he?
that?
No.
Yeah, you never see Ted
No.
Nugent riding a buffalo?
No.
He had a buffalo that he could ride, and he would ride it on stage, and like he's doing a show, and he's on a fucking buffalo in front of all these people.
You know, Ted Nugent is the only guy who I've ever heard who made me understand meat eating and how it's no less moral than. He's the only guy who made it make
What
sense
did
in
he
my
say?
head. He goes, "Oh, you think you're a good person because you're only eating the vegetables?" And then he talked about how many animals have to be killed in order to keep those vegetables
this.
from being eaten by other animals.
Look at this. Riding a
Wow.
buffalo.
Wild kid.
Wow. His son owns a bar on Staten Island, and I didn't know. And he was like, "Yeah, my
Rocco?
Oh, it was the kid didn't know he was his son.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
Oh, the
met
other
this kid?
one.
Yeah.
Ted.
The kid that he didn't know was his son.
Ted
Yeah.
Jr. And he was like, "Yeah, Ted Nugent's my pop. He's a really cool guy." And I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, dude, it's pretty fucking
But
wild."
you ever hear him explain that? And I was like, "Oh,
Explained
yeah."
it on this podcast.
Oh, he did? Is that
Yeah.
what it was from?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was like,
There's a red
oh,
curtain
yeah.
behind him.
Yeah, that's
Explained it.
right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like nobody ever thinks of that.
What is Ted Nugent famous? What is he? Was he a politician? What was Ted Nugent?
Stranglehold, son. You don't ever heard of
No.
Stranglehold? You never heard that
Sorry.
song?
No.
Here I come again now, baby. You don't know that song?
Oh,
Oh my God, you know it. Play Stranglehold.
yeah. I'm sorry. So he was
It's
a
one of the
musician.
greatest guitar riffs in all of rock and roll.
I'm going to be honest if I know it.
Come on, son.
So far, it's not ringing a bell.
Hold up. It's just picking up, son. Here we go.
You know it?
No.
You don't
How
know
dare
it.
you?
think so.
Hold up.
I don't think so.
I've heard this song.
Yes, yeah.
Now I've heard that part.
Hold up. This is a huge hit.
I don't know it.
Who's the best guitarist of all time?
Hendrix.
Billy Ray? No?
Hendrix.
Hendrix?
Hold up. All right, we're good.
Stranglehold.
Yeah.
So he was a big
He's famous
musician.
for that. Cat Scratch Fever, another big song.
Okay.
Had a bunch of good songs.
Yeah.
But then what happened? Then he got into politics and
Well,
stuff?
he's just he's a bow hunter and like very vocal about, social issues. And
That's
kind
cool.
of a maniac.
Right.
Yeah, he's kind of a nutty dude, but he's fun.
Yeah.
So then how does he have a son in Staten Island that I know?
Well,
How's that
his
road?
son, I think he didn't know it was his son, right? It was one of those deals.
But they're close.
Yeah,
They're a
but he has
relationship.
another son, his son Rocco, that I've met.
Right.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I like him.
It's a powerful name.
I don't
Rocco.
agree with everything he says, but that's the case with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Teach their own.
I think Hendrix is the greatest.
Right.
When it comes to guitarists. Because Hendrix changed songs with his guitar. Like Eric Clapton famously, when he saw Hendrix play for the first time, was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I even doing it? This is Eric Clapton.
Right.
Eric Clapton. Layla. I mean, he was amazing.
How about Billy Ray Vaughan, though?
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Sorry,
son of a
Stevie
bitch.
Ray Vaughan. Jesus Christ.
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray Vaughan
Tin
was
Pan Alley.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He used to play at our club.
Yeah, I can't believe I
There's
said Billy
those-
Ray Vaughan. I got him confused with
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Don't tell my heart,
My achy breaky heart.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Tin
Tin Alley is one of my
Have
favorite
you ever
songs.
seen in the corridor of when you're going on stage at the Mothership, those photos of Stevie Ray Vaughan? Those are him on stage at the Ritz.
Oh, crazy.
From 1983.
Wow.
Yeah, he performed there a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson performed there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place has some history.
Oh, you could feel it, dude.
Yeah.
It's burned in there.
Yeah.
I brought in ghost hunters to check it out. Sam and Colby, I brought in ghost hunters.
Did they find it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what's real.
Yeah.
But someone was murdered there. Someone was definitely shot there, I think, in the 70s.
Right.
At least
we were
one person. It
Yannis-
used to be a nudie movie theater, and it was a pool hall. So it was like a nudie movie theater, a pool hall. It was a punk rock club. There's like a lot of history in there.
A lot of people of the night in there.
Do you think it's possible that it was built on an Indian burial ground? Indian burial ground?
It's so much better that you fucked that up. There used to be a swastika on the wall.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So when we tore down, so there's like, wall board, and you tear down the wall board, you get to the raw brick, and in the raw brick, there's a fucking swastika on the wall. And we're like, this is crazy. And so while we're building the place up, I come in like 4 months later. I'm like, hey guys, why is the fucking swastika still here? Like, we're gonna open in like 6 months. You got to get rid of the swastika. So they tell one of the construction guys to take off the paint where the swastika is. And so you know what he does? He takes it off in the shape of the swastika. So he cleans so now it's brighter. Now it's like bright white. I'm like, hey, it's still a fucking swastika. Get it off the wall. Jesus Christ.
Was it the swastika from like the Hindu symbol before Hitler?
No. It was probably from the punk rock days. Somebody probably thought they were being fucking fuck yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably someone being a rebel. I'm a rebel.
And they threw it up.
Yeah, they threw it up. They painted it on the wall, and it stayed there.
Wow.
Yeah.
They never cleaned it up. I'm like, this is so crazy.
That reminds me of the old Punchline in Atlanta that had the Vince Champ.
This is
signature.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, wow. Just fully naked on stage.
Yeah, with socks over their dicks, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They used to do that.
That was a good move back then.
Yeah.
You could get away with that.
These
Show
kids
your
were-
pubes.
Why not?
Cover your balls in your cock with a sock.
Throw it up.
Cock.
That guy had good bodies, nice lean bods.
did, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're still going.
I saw a thing that said like hunter-gatherers, their bodies, not only the flexibility they had is unmatched, but they actually had bigger brains. You ever see this, that they actually think that they were smarter than us? They had bigger heads and bigger brains?
Well, they probably had to process a lot of things. It's like, what is smart? Is it smart to just be able to use ChatGPT and find answers to things? Or is it smart to have to figure stuff out about nature to stay alive?
Right.
There's different kinds of intelligence. If you take like the smartest guy ever and you let him loose in the Amazon, how long is he going to live? He's not going to live very
Stephen
long.
Hawking's not going to make it.
Hunter-gatherers generally had larger brains compared
See?
to later human populations, as the demands of their lifestyle, including complex foraging strategies and navigating diverse environments, likely put selective pressure on the evolution of larger brain capacity for problem solving and planning. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Expensive tissue hypothesis. Interesting. Which suggests that a diet rich in meat allowed for the energy expenditure needed to maintain a larger brain. Did you see those, they found a new population of humans that existed as recently as, I think, 100,000 years ago. But they found them in China, and they have much larger heads.
Really?
Yeah, they found out, they thought they were Denisovans, I think, at one point in time, which also is fairly new discovery. They found Denisovans in 2010. But this is another one. This is another new species of human being that they studied, that they found, rather. And they had large heads.
Haven't they found like 12, like 11 different hominids now?
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
There's quite a few, including the really controversial ones like Homo floresiensis or Floresiensis. I forgot how to
What
say
was
it.
that one? What was
Those are the
controversial
Hobbit
about
people.
them?
The island of Flores. They were little tiny 3 foot
Squeaks.
tall people.
Little squeaks.
Little twinks.
Little squeaks.
Late 1970s. Yeah, there it is. Homo juliensis. Fossils began belonging to 16 individuals were found in 2 different locations in China. They appeared to belong to unique species, thousands of artifacts, stone tools, and animal bones. This one is the larger-headed one. Is that the same one? Is that it? Because it says in the late 70s, fossils. I think this is large. I know I have a photo of it. Here, I'll send it to you. Where's my phone? I know I have. I saved it because I wanted to look at. Yeah, Dragon Man. That's it. Newly complete skull discovered in China in 1930 is a basis for the proposed new human species, Homo longi. That's it. Known as Dragon Man. Skulls found in 33 Shanghua River in Harbin, China, where a bridge was being built. Okay, so the skull is a combination of ancient and modern features, including a large brain similar to modern humans and Neanderthals, a low forehead. Oh, this was it.
But how do they know that these are? Couldn't it just be like a weird-looking kid? Like if me and Yannis were laying down, you found our skeletons, you would think we might be different types of species. I mean, he's got a peanut head and I have a head like a Cro-Magnon.
Good point, right? If you found Shaq buried right next to Bridget the Midget.
It could just be different people.
Yeah.
That is.
Good point.
You want to talk about fumes. These kids definitely have fumes. Neanderthals,
fumes.
oh my God,
What
dude.
did
The
they
scent
smell like?
must have been bad, dude.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Here, Jamie. I think this is a different thing. I'm going to send it to you right now. I'm going to send you the title. I just saved it on my phone so I could look at it later. 'Cause I didn't really look at it too much.
Right.
But they keep finding these new versions of humans.
Right.
So it's like, how many of them were there, and why did we succeed? Like, what was so great about?
I think we were most vicious, right? And we just
Dogs.
killed off
Has
the
to
other
be.
ones.
Dogs.
You think
Has to be.
dogs?
Dogs.
That's the answer.
I know, dude. Yeah.
You're
I mean,
100% positive.
my street smart says it. Science says it. Like it's nascent, you know, in the understanding of how, but it's pretty solid that that's what gave us the edge.
That
we
trained
domesticated dogs.
We teamed up with dogs and we had a symbiotic relationship, and we were able to protect ourselves better.
So this is it. Large head people, mysterious new form of ancient human emerges. This is it. So a provocative new piece in nature's as proposed a whole new group of ancient humans, cousins of the Denisovans and Neanderthals that once lived alongside Homo sapiens in Eastern Asia more than 100,000 years ago. Brains of these extinct humans who probably hunted horses in small groups were much bigger than any other hominin of their time, including our own species. This is it. The large head people, yeah. So that's it. It is that name, though. Oh, no. In the past, it says. Some science have attributed to it. But that's not what they're saying. So they think it's a different.
The Denisovans is what it says. Some scientists have attributed the Juluren fossils to Denisovans,
Right.
or group or whatever, but once lived us all.
Has there?
In the past. So now they think it's a totally different thing, right?
I didn't know people ate horses.
Oh, yeah.
Has every animal been eaten?
Oh, a lot of people eat horses, man.
Yeah,
in
still
fact,
right now.
Shavkat Rachmanov, the #1 contender in the welterweight division, he says it's his favorite food.
Horse meat.
Yeah, he's from Kazakhstan. He
Interesting.
rides horses and he eats horses. So he's like, I love horse. He loves them all the way. He
ever tried it?
Yeah, I've had horse.
Good.
I had it in Montreal. There's a restaurant in Montreal, like one of the best restaurants in the world. Shout out to Joe Beef.
Oh, of course.
Incredible,
Joe Beef.
incredible place. And we went there, Ari and I. We had, I went with Duncan too. We had horse tartare and we had horse loin.
And it was good.
Fucking really good. It's game. It's like wild game. It's like eating an antelope or eating an elk.
Right.
It's real similar. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But I remember it was on All in the Family when the bunkers were poor. You know, they weren't doing so well. And Edith went to the store and she bought horse meat. And she served it to Archie. And it was like a big deal. It's like, I'm eating this horse. You know, you remember that episode?
No, I never saw it.
I don't. But again, another good impression.
I remember it was like a real problem in the family that she fed him horse
meat, yeah.
but they were so poor they didn't have any meat.
Yeah. Well, I just feel bad for horses. I mean, they lug us around for, you know.
They're also very sweet.
Yeah,
like they're
I love
connected
them.
to people.
I can't eat them.
You can get connected to a horse.
Yeah, I can't eat horses. I can't eat dogs. I just can't do it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I
Dogs
can't do it.
get eaten a lot, unfortunately, right?
I think dogs and humans are connected genetically.
I think so too. I think there's a place in our brain that kind of matches up with
Yeah.
them, and like, yeah, we evolved together. Something's up. It's magical.
Yeah, my dog
Right.
he's a part of my family.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm connected to that dog.
Yeah, me too.
See, I don't want a dog, but maybe I should get a dog. You think I
they're-
should just do it?
Dogs are great, but you're a weirdo. You probably give them away.
No, I
You
would.
probably say I can't take it anymore, so I gave it to this Puerto Rican family, and they,
I did.
they raised it to be an attack dog, and I feel bad. Now he's attacking people.
I would. I got to be
like
better
that
with dogs.
fucking dream house you got rid of, and you moved into the
Sold it.
city like a retard.
Like a fucking retard. And now I bought one that was too expensive because ChatGPT told me to.
Why didn't you try to buy your old house back?
Because
you did. You tried
I
to buy it
did,
back.
and
He
they
doesn't
won't
want to sell it.
They won't sell it. The guys won't sell it. But what can I do?
What can you do?
Nothing. I
Don't
got to
do
just
that anymore.
Don't-
Call him now when you have like
Him and I talk
He's
about
a
it.
much more logical person. Than
He
you.
is. He is. His brain. He's more kind of controlled than me. I go a little wild, and he kind of keeps me back.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say I said it, but I don't know how controlled I am. But it was bought by a Muslim family,
A Palestinian family on
bought it.
October
Yeah.
8th.
Yeah. So
After October 7th, the next day is when we sold it. October 8th, and my
That October 8th?
October 8th. Palestinians moved in October 8th.
Boy, they move quick.
Yeah, they came
That's
right
like-
in.
I
Yeah.
see the writing on the wall.
well,
Yeah.
they see that they're in a place where they can accomplish it. So they're like, we can actually live there.
Yep.
And they just do it.
So
They
they
take
moved in
advantage.
big, and and my neighbors were kind of mad that we just picked up and left. But what can you do? I
Yeah.
had to go. I had to move to Queens.
You didn't have to.
No.
You should have called somebody. That's the time you should call me.
Well, now I'll know. Now I know.
Yeah, please do. I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about? You're like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, right.
He's heading back, though.
As
You're
soon as,
heading
we
back.
as soon as we get out of here, I'm going to call my accountant and see if we can rescind that offer, or are we locked in legally? Because I just found out ChatGPT's liar.
Do you get panicky?
Oh,
when you
yeah,
do
I get
things
real
like that?
panicky. I get real
but
panicky.
yet you still do these.
I still do it
because
because I think I don't do drugs, so I think I get and so this is a My father was a compulsive gambler and told me never to gamble, so I thought I escaped it because I don't know anything about cards and sports gambling. I don't know anything about it.
You do it with life choices.
Yes, which is kind of a little riskier.
A lot of people do.
Yep,
I
I
get
get
a
a
life choice gamblers out there.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking for peace. I'm looking for my path to peace, so I'm trying to just, be peace.
Radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance,
Radical
being friendly with my present,
acceptance.
being gentle with life. We're
Therapy
trying.
is bad.
We're trying, baby.
Therapy
Yeah.
is scary. It's
Scary.
Just run mountains or something.
That's
Lift
what
some
it is.
weights. Do
Well,
something.
I tried to, but I got a bad Achilles.
That can be fixed.
I know, but I've been trying for
What's
6
wrong
months.
with your Achilles?
I don't know, man. It
hurts?
I have tendinosis in the Achilles, and they did the X-ray, and they see some scar tissue in there. So they actually told me,
Why don't you get stem cells?
I can't get them in New York.
You can get them here.
Here, I'll come
Yeah,
down here.
you
They
can
told me
get 'em in Texas.
PRP.
That'll help too.
Spin the blood.
Yeah. Platelet-rich plasma.
Yeah, I'll
I've
do
done
that.
Yeah, but you should get stem cells while you're here. How long are you in town for?
I go home tonight. Oh, damn! But I
damn.
could come back.
Okay,
Yeah.
come back.
All right.
Are you booked at the club anytime?
No.
You should come back, and when you come back, we'll set it up to you to go to Waste Well before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll get a little stem
Because
cells.
a buddy of mine, my friend Evan, had a fucked up Achilles. It was bothering him for years, and
Yeah.
he got stem cell today. Gone, pain. Gone.
Really?
Yeah, it was bothering him for years.
That's me. I've been
Yeah.
2 years with this. I have a growth on the back of my heel.
Oh, from the bone.
Yeah, like the bone
get
spur.
irritated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
And it's all fucked up.
Ooh.
But I do have a clean colon. I had 2 polyps,
Yay.
but under 3 centimeters. We're good to go, baby.
Congratulations.
Clean ass. So does he. We got our colonoscopies a month apart.
Everyone should get a colonoscopy starting at 40. Everyone should get it. It's
You get
on the
cleaned out?
rise with
You know
young
what you could
people.
really do? You
Yeah.
could do a comprehensive blood screen to test you for all cancers, not just asshole cancer. Well, they have that now. It's a lot easier and it's better.
You never did a colonoscopy?
I had one once.
Right.
How dare you bring it up?
Why? What's wrong with it?
Nothing. It's fine.
I know.
I think
I didn't
that-
wake up that hard.
Yeah.
I think that if you go, I didn't have a colonoscopy. No, I had an exam where they go in there with their fingers. I didn't go in there with a
They didn't put the scope in there?
No.
He woke up during his because he liked it.
I woke up.
Woke
I
up
swear,
with
to,
a hard on?
swear to God.
Yeah.
No,
Jacking off?
I wasn't even hard. I'm not even fucking around. I woke up in the middle of it because I just knew something
Dreaming.
was in my ass. I woke up. Yeah. I woke up. I went Mateo and I fell back asleep.
But they can screen you with this. I forget what it's called. They do that at Waste Well too. They send it off to a lab. They take your blood and they screen you for like 100 kinds of cancer.
Right. That's
That's
the way
good.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got the full body scans now too.
They're trying to attach. There was some paper that I was reading that was trying to attach cooking oils with cancer, specific kinds of cooking oils and colon cancer. Specific types of seed oils that things are cooked in, and the prevalence of that, and the human diet, and how it's contributing to cancer.
Yeah. Well, colon cancer's on the rise.
Why is this
Yeah,
stuff
like
not
why?
available in New York? Why can you only do this kind of stuff in Texas?
You could do it in New York. I guarantee you just don't know the right people.
Right.
I guarantee you probably can't do stem cells to the extent. It's like there's not a lot of these clinics because of a lot of FDA regulations and the way they work. Utah's a really good state for it. They have like much looser regulations.
Right.
But a lot of people wind up going to Mexico. There's a place in Mexico they're called the CPI, Cellular Performance Institute. A lot of UFC fighters go there because they have an arrangement with the UFC. You could do wild shit down in Mexico.
That's what Aaron
Fill
Rodgers
you
did,
up.
right, with his Achilles. He went down there, got the stem cells. He's good to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
He actually got treated here. He got treated at Waste-A-Well.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I should just go.
Yeah, you definitely should. If I had known that you had that issue, I would have got you in early this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll come back.
Yeah,
God damn it.
Ron White actually just went and he hurt himself doing yoga. And he fucked up his ankle. They just treated him.
And now he's good.
Well, he just got it yesterday. It's going to take a while before it's better.
Right.
But it will get you better a lot quicker than not having it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people that have had like pretty serious issues cleared up. With
Like
themselves.
torn Achilles, and they're good.
Torn ligaments. As long as it's not fully torn.
No.
Then you definitely need surgery. You know, Achilles is a bad one because it's like, God, it's like there's so much torque on that when you're moving. And then they got to screw it back down to your bone, and then it's got to heal and make sure you strengthen it enough before you start using it. So you have to be real diligent about your rehab. Like, look how long it took Aaron Rodgers, and he has state-of-the-art access to ways to and he was way ahead of the curve, way ahead of what it takes most people to do. But even then, he couldn't really play that year. He had to wait until it was, you know, like the next season.
Yeah. Those used to be like career ending.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now he's good.
Now they're just
get you out. Because I've been doing like calf exercises and like strengthening all around, and it's just like a year and a half. I'm like, dude, the pain is still there if I explode too much. It's also, I mean, what am I going to do? I got horrific feet, Joe. My feet are horrific. My toes cross over. I have no arches. I have feet that look like they should be shoved into high heels. And
Have
that's
you
what
ever,
it is.
do you ever work out with barefoot shoes? Do you know those like minimalists, like
they'd have to custom make them for his feet.
Yeah, where you put your toe into each individual hole.
No, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
You can get those too. Those are like the barefoot shoes. Those are
those help.
Yeah, those are okay. Those are good. The toe shoes. I used to have those. But the ones I really like are they have a wide toe box so your feet spread out and there's very minimal amount of sole just to kind of protect you from sharp things you stand on. But it allows your toes to move as individual units. So a regular shoe acts as like a cast. Like if you have like a thick soled boot and like a hard surface your foot sits on, it's like a cast. So your toes aren't really working. Your legs are picking it up, but your foot is basically atrophying inside that. And then if you work out barefoot, and especially if you work out and where you do something explosive like jumping and stuff with barefoot, then you're using your feet the way they're supposed to be used. So all the muscles strengthen. A lot of people have very, very weak feet.
Yeah, I can't even move my toes individually. Like if you like, Chris, move your toe, I'll go like this.
You can't do this?
No, I can't do it.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's like, it's horrible.
You should probably take care of that before it gets bad.
See?
Yeah, it's still like
See, and go ahead, ask me to move my toe. Say, move my toe. Say, Chris, move your toe. Somebody say
move
it.
your toes. Yeah, basketball feet like I do.
Yeah.
That's all I could do. You see?
LeBron's feet are like that, too.
Yeah.
Did you play a lot of basketball?
I did, yeah.
Maybe that's it.
I did.
Maybe it's all that, like, smushing in the shoe.
It could be.
Is that what it is, Jamie?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I had to wear extra pairs of socks up until
put
I was
that
18.
fucking hoof back in
No good, right?
sheath.
But then you see on the ankle here, I got a little bony road.
That's where it's fucked up.
But I do have good hamstring flexibility, not bad.
That's not bad. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir.
LeBron's feet are evil looking.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing, right? Did he come back to the NBA
He
yet?
just missed 2 games.
Oh. He's coming back? What happened? Was he hurt?
Whatever. Who knows? He needed to get time to get his body.
Oh, that's right. The timeout. What? Who knows?
Who
dude?
knows?
Everybody, anybody who takes out of anything now, people are like Diddy. That's everyone tries to link it to
Diddy
Diddy.
party.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Imagine like him regretting saying, "There's his feet."
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus.
damn, dude.
Gross. Just smashed up.
I mean, that pinky toe is brutes.
A lot of kickboxers have feet like that too.
Oof.
Feet all fucked up.
Brutal.
I mean, imagine how many. I mean, think about kickboxers, how many elbows they've kicked. Like, John Jones can't even fight unless he has his big toe on his left foot taped to his next toe. He has to have it taped up because he tore his toe completely upside down when he was beating up Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize it until I was interviewing him after the fight. And then he looks down and sees his toe. He's like, he freaks out and he has to sit down.
The adrenaline, he didn't even feel it.
Didn't even feel it.
Yeah.
His toe was upside down. Like,
Wow.
the bottom of his toe was facing up.
Wow.
It was horrible.
I would probably say one-on-one, him, anyone in history, just because of how skilled he is.
Look at it. That's what his foot looked like.
Oh,
Damn.
my God.
Yeah, bro.
Yo.
It was crazy.
So you noticed it first, though?
No, I think he did. I think he noticed it. I think he
Oh,
looked down.
God.
Yeah. He destroyed his toe.
So what happened? It twisted all the way around?
That's from the force of beating the fuck out of Chael Sonnen. That's what that's from. Like a ground and pound when he had him on the ground, just smashing down on him. Somebody isolated the moment his toe curls over. You could see it in like the replay.
Yeah.
The moment his toe, just the amount of torque he was putting on to try to kill Chael Sonnen.
Is he doing Peoria or Aspinall?
Aspinall.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Aspinall. I think they're trying to come to some sort of an agreement. The rumor is that he wants $30 million, and the UFC is going to pay it. Hopefully, I hope they pay it.
I agree with him though. Him and Peoria would be the
Pereira. Yeah.
Sorry, would be the fight everyone wants to see. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Because he's been so dominant, that kid.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, if it's going to happen, they're both 37. It should probably happen soon. But John is, the heavyweight champion of the world, and Pereira has challengers in the light heavyweight division, especially Ankalaev. He's supposed to be fighting Ankalaev. Ankalaev is fucking very dangerous. And I think he's the number one contender. And he's been on a winning streak for a long-ass time. He's only got one draw, and that was to Jan Blachowicz, who was the former champion. So he's like at the top of the heap, and he's been waiting for a title shot for a long time, but he's been talking a lot of shit. And Alex doesn't like that he talks shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck him, make him wait.
Yeah.
And so I think Alex just said that he's going to fight in March and that he's not going to fight Ankalaev. Because if he's fighting in March, when is Ramadan?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I thought you would be the guy.
I'm not
you'd be
Muslim.
the guy. I know, but I thought you would know.
I think it's in the summer. It's in
February 28th.
Okay, so he wouldn't be able to fight. Ankalaev wouldn't be able to fight in March. Because if it's like March 3rd and he's got to go through the entire month of Ramadan preparing for a world title fight, February 28th, and it ends Saturday, March 29th. See, that's exactly during the time period where he's going to fight.
And with Ramadan, for the whole month, you can only drink water?
No. You can't. You definitely can drink water and you can eat food, but you can only do it after sundown. So Bilal Muhammad, who's the UFC welterweight champion, he observes Ramadan, and he was training and fighting. He'd have to take a fight during Ramadan. So what he would do is he would get up at like 4:30 in the morning before it was light out, and he'd have a big meal, and then he would go to the gym. And then he would have no water at the gym, nothing. And then at the end of the day, and also he also didn't sleep during the day. Like a lot of them, like their hack of that is they just sleep during the day and train and eat at night. But he said that if you do that, then you miss out on the religious suffering, which he thinks is very important for Ramadan. So he would do it the way you're supposed to do it, where he worked out with no water, trained.
Oh, my God.
And then he would finally get to the nighttime session. He'd be able to eat and then have a nighttime training session like a little later than normal. And so that's how he would do his day.
Wow. That's why these dudes are dominating. They're just tougher.
Discipline.
And he started working with the Dagestani guys, right? And then now he just turned into a beast.
Well, those guys are hard fucking core.
Yeah.
They want no distractions, no women, no bullshit. Get off your phone. Let's go to work.
They're probably not jerking off, if we're being honest.
Probably.
They keep fueled. They keep it loaded up.
Yeah.
Keep a loaded glue gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? It's something about having a loaded glue gun, right? When you're going into the ring, you want to be glued up full of glue.
Some people believe that. Yeah. Some people believe that you're not supposed to ejaculate within a couple weeks of a big fight.
Didn't you not masturbate out of respect at 9/11?
That is true.
What was it?
I wanted to go until we found Bin Laden, the perpetrator, but obviously that was too long. But I did go until October 1st. From 9/11 to October 1, I said, as my respect back to this country and patriotism, I'm not going to glue at all until we get out of this month of September.
Didn't Louis have a joke about he waited until the second tower fell?
Probably.
Like he jerked off.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah.
I think it was a joke. He didn't make it until the second tower fell.
Yeah. Dude, I remember there was like a vigil, like on September 18th or whatever, like a week later in like my neighborhood, and I was playing basketball. I was a basketball player, and I was playing in the park, and I remember when I left, everyone was just standing outside their house with like American flags and candles, and I wouldn't dribble my basketball because I was like, I think like a sound or any type of dribble of a ball, disrespectful.
Yeah.
And then a guy gave me a flag, like as I was walking, as if to say, take one of these as you're walking home, and I just walked with that flag.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love our fucking country big, Joe.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
I just love it, and I hate when people talk shit about it.
Yeah. Well, get ready.
Yeah,
we got
it's
some
coming.
We got
Just
some drones.
Listen to Joy Reid.
Yeah. We should try to swap those things out of the air.
What do you think they are, if you had to guess?
I think they are, I was joking about the AI thing. I think they're Chinese. Yeah, I don't want to say this on such a big podcast. I'm available to the CCP for whatever they need me to do.
Yeah.
Disinformation, I'll do it.
I think that they are sniffing the
Yeah.
radiation. I think that that's the most plausible. That I don't know if they know about it, if not, but I think they're probably looking for radiation. I don't know that a nuke's necessarily going off, but I think that's probably what it is. If I had to just guess, if I really had to guess.
Well,
I think they're being launched from submarines underwater.
yes.
And
That's what's
yeah.
crazy is like if that's the case, how many submarines and how big are these submarines? Because these things are the size of an SUV, and some of them were coming from some like untrackable distance offshore, like 50 plus miles offshore, and they're the size of an SUV, and they can stay in the air for 5 hours. So what's the power source? And then the other problem is they don't exhibit a heat signature like a regular drone does. So did they have some sort of cooling?
Is that why they can't track them?
Yeah, they're having a hard time tracking them because of that. Like they're having a hard time tracking them with infrared. They don't know why they can stay in the sky for 5 hours at a time. Ryan Graves, who's a fighter pilot, was on the other day, and he was explaining to us like there's certain aspects to some of these drones that are above state of the art. They're doing things that we can't do. The big one is the flying for that many hours. That's crazy. The heat signature part, that's crazy. All the jammers and all different things they try to do to find the signal that's on, none of that works.
What does he think it is?
Why don't
then?
they just knock one out of the air? That's what I don't understand.
It's a good question.
That's what makes me skeptical to think that
Does he think it's government?
Could be
run?
American.
I sent you something earlier today, Jamie, that I knew this subject was going to come up about it. I don't know. There's also some stuff, like, is it real? I don't know if it's real. I don't know what we're looking at, but there's some stuff with, like, these orbs that they're filming.
Oh, yeah.
And they've zoomed in on them, and you look at the zoomed-in version of it, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that goddamn thing?
We just don't know if it's real or not.
FAA bans drones in parts of New Jersey, threatens deadly force for imminent security threat. These areas have all now been deemed national defense airspace.
The Aviation Administration issued bans on flying drones in multiple cities across New Jersey, including several in our area due to security reasons. These areas are all now considered national defense airspace. Here's a map of those sites: the city of Camden, Gloucester City, Winslow Township, Evesham, Hancock's Bridge in Lower Alloways Township in Salem County, West Hampton, Burlington, and Hamilton. Unmanned aircraft are not allowed in those areas through January 17th unless approved by the federal government. The FAA says pilots who violate the airspace, meaning pilots on the ground as well, may be detained and interviewed by law enforcement. The agency warns that the U.S. government may use deadly force against drones it deems an imminent threat. These restrictions come just days after the FBI released a joint government statement saying most of the reported drone sightings were just airplanes, manned drones, and stars in the sky.
Shut the fuck up.
Trying to get answers.
Listen, Donald Trump is not giving press conferences about airplanes and stars in the sky.
Right.
You don't think that he knows something more than that?
I was going to ask, do you think he knows?
He's not staying at his golf course. He wouldn't go to his golf course because they were hovering over the golf course. There's a real problem. This gaslighting is not helping anybody.
Do you think it just goes out of the news one day, or we will get an answer as the public?
I don't know. I would never have guessed that it would be this big of a deal for so long.
Right.
How long has it been going on?
Since early November or mid-November, I think.
Around Thanksgiving, and it's been the same. Isn't it been like the same type of year, same time of year, like for a couple of years that this has been happening?
But not like this. It's never gotten to like national news.
No, not this many. But they were going over military bases,
and now
so
they're just going over New Jersey.
Now
Jamie, pull the video up of the one that I got on my Instagram. So I took this one from, I forget what the Instagram page is, but it's up on the page to give them a shout out. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is fake. This is the one we were looking at earlier.
Yeah.
I showed it to these guys in the green room last night. We were all freaking out. Like, what? Okay, what is that? The way the goddamn thing moves.
It's my favorite meme of you.
So click on it so we can hear it. that meme gets used for so many different things. Yeah. Listen to these guys talking when they're talking.
There's no clouds.
Shh, quiet.
So you see this thing.
Look at it on the camera. It's like a dome.
So what you're concentrating on is the one in the lower right.
What the fuck? Like literally, dude, that's weird in the sky right there.
So it's moving.
Dude, are we watching a star falling?
No, that's not moving quick enough. There's no tail. That's a UFO.
There's no blue or red
Look,
lights.
something's coming off.
What the fuck?
So when it gets above, this is where it gets weird because it's slowly rising It gets above that other thing, which might be the moon. I'm not sure what that other thing is. I think it's the moon. So that other thing, it gets above it, and then
Look how the light's going off in two sides.
it starts taking off. And when it starts taking off, it does it with no sound at a fucking insane rate of speed. Like, look at that.
Taking off. No fucking way. What the fuck? It just went out to space. It just went out to space.
Oh my God.
It just went out to space.
That's why
Those guys are reacting like they're watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's real. It could be fake. It could be all AI generated. It's ambiguous and blurry enough, though, that I'm willing to entertain it.
Right.
If that's really what they saw, that's a bunch of different people have seen things like that over time. And this is like the Tic Tac story. This is the one that Ryan Graves showed us that this lady photographed over Florida.
Yeah.
That these things, and they've seen it on. This is one that was seen by multiple people from different planes. That this thing moved and then shot off into space, and this lady got photos of it. But whatever that thing's doing, it's doing something that we can't do. That speed that thing takes off, that's faster than any rocket we have. That's faster than any fighter jet. That thing just shoots off into space at some impossible speed.
If so, it's either us. The drones are either. Well, why are they blinking if it's not us? Why do they have?
That one wasn't blinking.
No, but I mean the drones. I'm saying the drones are blinking. So I'm saying if the drones are ours, maybe there's been like UFO activity, and they're throwing these drones up to try to capture it with better.
Or what better way to distract people from actual UFOs that you know are going to be all over the sky than to put a bunch of drones up there too?
Right.
That too.
Yeah. If you have a bunch of shit that seems like stuff that you've seen, like a drone, like flying around, and then there's stuff that is impossible with it, that's a good way to cover up the impossible stuff. Have a bunch of regular drones.
Yeah.
But at this point, why would they do that? Everyone's already accepted the fact that UFOs are out there.
Not really. If there was a big thing where all of a sudden the sky was filled with those football field size fucking motherships, like, people would lose their shit. But if you could slowly get people accustomed to it, the way people got accustomed to masks. In the beginning, in 2019, if you saw someone with a mask on, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? By 2021, why doesn't this guy have a mask on? Right? Just in a couple of years, everybody was wearing a mask.
Sure.
We get accustomed to stuff. If you get accustomed to things being in the sky, and then all of a sudden there's nothing, like you could float anything in the sky. If you have weirder and weirder drones and then start showing spaceships, people would freak out way less.
Right.
I don't know, dude. If someone tells me this is a drone, I'm chill. And if someone shows me a football field-sized spacecraft,
True.
I'm going to freak out.
That's a big leap.
In
But
a
what
good way.
What about one the size of a car? That's definitely not ours.
So you
That's
think they're just
moving like
doling
that
them out
thing.
by size?
If I was going to do that, if I was going to get people prepared for an imminent invasion, like if I knew that there was UFOs on the way, if like we're working at the James Webb Telescope and we get a photo of a mothership and it's heading towards us, it's going to be here in 4 months, what would you do? Well, if I knew that they were going to be sending drones and probes into our atmosphere, and maybe they've already done that, to obscure that, I would put a bunch of our drones up there and have them hover over cities so it doesn't freak people out because you know that that's coming.
I mean, being freaked
Not a
out is
bad
probably
idea.
the least of our problems when they come.
Well,
if they're coming.
Collapse of civil society is really possible if aliens show up. Like if they just instantaneously showed up, things could completely collapse if we knew that our leaders are just nothing compared to these new things that are visiting us from some other place and doing things that are impossible with our technology. We're helpless. We're lost. We're confused. They could shut down nuclear power plants. They can shut down the grid. They can shut down any weapon systems that we have. Instantaneously, power goes off. If all those stories are true, the best way to keep people from absolutely freaking out is to slowly trickle it in on them and get them more and more accustomed to this, like as a psyop.
How committed are you to this theory?
Not very.
Yeah.
Not very.
Yeah.
I go all over the place.
Yeah.
I think, according to someone that I spoke to, and this is someone who has high-level clearance and someone who worked for the government in this capacity, he said some of these they're not human. They're not exhibiting whatever they are. They're exhibiting technology that is far beyond what we're capable of.
Right.
And then there's other ones like Ryan Graves said that are beyond state of the art, but you can kind of sort of get that they would be a drone. But how is it in the air for 5 hours? How does it not have a heat signature? How does it know when other drones are coming near it, when they're flying jets near it, and they just shut the lights off and disappear? These things are just shutting off.
Oh, dude, so this isn't. They're alien. Maybe they're alien drones.
It's possible.
Fuck.
And
Maybe
if
they're
you
just
were
alien drones.
Also, if you were an alien and you wanted to get people accustomed to this without freaking out, wouldn't you start sending drones that are similar to what we have, but just many levels better, but similar enough so you go, oh, I know what that is.
Or they could just like get on the TV and get like, hey, dudes, we're but they probably, if they could get here, they know how to speak our language, and they just go, hey, dudes, we're chill.
They can morph.
We're coming here. Or they just go, hey, guys, it's over. We're going to, like, you guys have seen The Matrix? We're about to use you for some sort of fuel.
Yeah.
Whatever they're going to do.
Or maybe they're not going to be mean to us at all. That's possible, too.
If they're that intelligent, they're not mean. They're not mean. People who...
You mean like us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
That's
not...
hilarious.
Or maybe the prison planet thing I said in the beginning of the show, this is how it happens.
Well, you ever heard Bob Lazar talk about one of the most disturbing things that he found?
Why? No.
One of the most disturbing things when he was doing the back engineering program on this supposed crashed alien spaceship or recovered alien spaceship was that they had a thick binder that was about religion. And the thing, we'll have him play it. We'll have him play it because it's one of those ones we've played a few times. But it's the Bob Lazar story is the craziest. Because if he's telling the truth, and it seems like he's definitely telling the truth about a lot. He definitely worked at Los Alamos Labs. He was on the employee roster. He has a detailed understanding of the building. He knew all the security people when they took him there, when George Knapp took him on a tour through there. He definitely worked there, and he definitely was a propulsions expert. And he says they hired him to go and try to figure out this fucking thing. Here, listen to this.
The hardcore thing is that there is an extremely classified document dealing with religion, and it's about that thick. Period. But why would there be any classified material dealing with religion?
I want to go back to the religion thing. I want you to say it.
It's so far out.
All right, your objection has been noted.
Okay.
What does it say?
That we're containers. That's how supposedly the aliens look at us. That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of? Containers.
Maybe containers of souls. You can come up with whatever theory you want, but we're containers. And that's how we're mentioned in the documents. That religion was specifically created so we have some rules and regulations for the sole purpose of not damaging the containers.
That's George. That's George Knapp, by the way. Shout out to George Knapp.
Yeah,
I'm too freaked out.
It's
right.
but
it's kind of what you were talking about.
The prison planet theory doesn't seem so crazy if the advanced alien race is eating our negative emotions. Just don't be negative, and you'll be saved, dude. Just be happy. That's what they've been trying to tell you. Bob Marley, everybody's been trying to tell you this.
What is this, Jamie? What are you showing me here?
I believe that video you posted is from April. From what
April 12th, 2024, at Mountain Standard Time in eastern Arizona, off the Black River in the White Mountains, the Fort Apache Indian Reservation. And by the way, my friend Cam Haynes, he hunts at one of the Apache reservations. He says they see them there all the time.
Wow.
He said they see crazy shit in the sky all the time. These guys are hunting out there in this enormous reservation, like unbelievable, pristine forest land. They see crazy shit, and they just accept it that it's true.
Right, I believe that.
Most of the guys working there have seen something.
Yeah. I mean, that
that's
makes sense
also
to me.
where Travis Walton, this guy, that was in Arizona too, wasn't it, Jamie?
I'll say this version of the video, you can almost make out the moon. I don't know if this is better because it's been reposted less, but
it does look better. It definitely looks better. So this is the same thing.
Are you freaked out by this?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not enough that it's going to fuck up my day.
Yeah.
Right? Because it freaks me out, but it's not freaking me out like I can't sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's freaking me out like Ukraine freaks me out where I can't sleep.
Yeah.
Like that stuff freaks me out. The looking for a nuke on the East Coast, that freaks me out where it'll fuck with my sleep. If I think about that before I go to bed, the one thing that I genuinely here it takes off. Let's take a look at it while it's taking off.
Wow.
And this is the thing. It's like there's no sound. Look how fast it's going.
Yeah.
Like what can go that fast? What the fuck can go that fast?
It's crazy.
That is insane. That has to be I don't want to guess how many thousands of miles an hour that thing is going. But if you were a person inside, you're jello.
Yeah.
If you're going that fast.
Paul Verzi's dad and mom saw it, and it was not only the dad, mom, it was like an aunt. They were all there, and I asked his mom, she's like a religious person, and she said, yeah. I mean, and they said it was low, had lights on it. The father is, Bronx
He's a
Italian
funny guy, yeah.
and he said he doesn't believe in that stuff. And it was low, like above the tree line. He made it out. It was a saucer, and then he said it shot up and turned into a dot in the sky.
And this was in the 80s or something.
Do you guys ever hear the Betty and Barney Hill story?
No.
Betty and Barney Hill were a couple in, I think it was the 1950s.
Oh, yes, I know this
where
story.
they were the first abduction story.
Yeah.
And they did hypnotic regression, and they both had the same story that they saw something in the sky, they pulled over their car, and then they woke up, and they don't know what the fuck happened.
Wow.
But they were haunted by this, and they have hypnotic regression, and they tell this crazy story about being taken aboard this craft. It's very similar to Travis Walton's story. It's very similar to a bunch of stories of abduction.
And what is this, like they get tested on, like, or they just don't remember anything?
It's hard to say when you're dealing with hypnotic because the thing about these, when you're recalling things through hypnosis, is like people are very susceptible to someone imparting a memory into them. So you'd have to know, like, what was the process like in which you interviewed these people. But John Mack, who is a psychologist from Harvard, wrote a book called Abduction that I read in the 1990s that detailed all the different people that he worked on, that he was, having these hypnotic regression sessions with these people. And they were all telling these similar stories about being abducted. And that he believed that there was a few people on Earth where they would revisit. They would find, just like we do with animals, where we put collars on them, right? When they catch a mountain lion, they'll put a collar on that mountain lion so they can understand where the mountain lion's going, where his terrain is. How they do it with wolves when they relocate them. They put collars on them so they know where they are all the time. And it makes sense that they would probably want to understand us, so they would pick certain ones. And if they had a way to silence your memories and completely put you in some sort of a state where they could manipulate you and take you to some place and do examinations on you and then put you back with no memory of it other than these weird nightmares. That makes sense.
Well, it shows that they're compassionate if they put you back.
I guess,
Yeah.
or that, this is how they study you. They want to know. I mean, there's no stories of them stealing people, right? They always bring you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what are if that's real, what's the purpose of it? Like, what are they doing? I would imagine they're studying us the same. Like, if we could study chimps and the chimps had no idea we studied them, like, we would do that. Instead, we dart them. We dart them, and then they wake up and like, what the fuck?
Right.
But that's how we do it. And they would probably do it in a real similar way, just more sophisticated.
How about that other abduction story about those guys? They were like those rural guys in the 70s or something.
Travis Walton.
Yeah. Oh, that's
the Arizona story, the logger. Yeah.
Those guys, I believe them.
That story is crazy because the other guys in the truck, one of the guys hated him. He got in a fist fight with that guy the day of the abduction. He still told the same story that everybody told. He walked up to this craft. They saw it flying through the air. Wasn't that in Arizona too? Was it Travis Walton case in Arizona?
Yeah.
I believe it was. Arizona's a hot spot for it. I mean, that's the Phoenix Lights. That's
the Phoenix Lights was crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
And a lot of people saw that.
Thousands of people saw it, including the fucking governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then why is this one catching on in the news?
Because this is more prevalent, and it's lasting for days and days and days.
Got it.
And I don't know. I don't know what's
going on. Do you think
on.
they just want to be there for the inauguration?
Probably.
Well, they're really early.
Yeah.
They're like fucking tailgating.
They're tailgating.
We're gonna be
tailgating the inauguration.
We're going to be there.
We're going to be there.
We're going to be close.
January
18th, we're doing a show in Washington, D.C. at the Lincoln Theater, our History Hyenas live show, and we're
Bring
like
a Geiger counter.
Well, we said we were like, why 22 days before the inauguration? We were like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing the first live History Hyenas
January
show.
18th.
January 18th, Washington, D.C.
In D.C., it'll be fine. I mean, but we were like,
Probably.
fuck it. Oh, who knows? We're
Better
doing it
than
at
January 21st. That one I wouldn't count on being there.
We're doing it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I like doing earlier shows now. You ever do that? You ever do like a 5 p.m.?
No.
That's what we think that's where the world's going with we don't think people want to be out till midnight, 1 a.m. anymore. What do you think? You think that's stupid? You think earlier shows work? Would you experiment with them?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, Bert Kreischer's always done like afternoon shows, like Take the Day Off Work show. He's done a bunch of those. Yeah, Bert's been doing those for years.
Oh, I didn't
Call-in
know
sick
that.
shows. Yeah, I mean, Doug Stanhope does those day drinking shows. He actually filmed one at the Mothership.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some day drinking shows. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, the club is there all day long. Why not have shows during the day if you want to?
If you can sell them,
especially it's dark out. If the club's dark as shit, it does. Yeah. It's dark when it's noon. You know,
yeah.
It's like you could totally have the same experience at noon that you could at night. But it seems like at nighttime, people are off work. You get a couple of cocktails. Get a little loose, sit in the dark, have a good time.
But on a Saturday, sometimes I feel like people just sit around all day and wait for the show. If you can put it at 5 o'clock, why not?
Sure. Look, that's why they like to go to football games, right?
Right.
Go during the afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly could. You certainly could have day shows.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a big name. You know, if they're willing to do something.
Yeah,
most of the people like to go out at night. You know, like to go to dinner, get a couple drinks, go to a show. That's a nighttime thing.
Yeah.
But that's just they're just accustomed to it, especially if it's Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
You totally could get away with it.
I'm just a morning baby. I like to wake up early, and then I like.
What time do you get up?
I'm a 6 a.m. little baby boy that
How
wakes
long
up.
before you look at your phone?
What I used to look at it right away, but now I give myself 15 minutes.
15 solid minutes?
I give 15 minutes, and I get my feet on the floor, and
what
I
if
just
you
try
have to piss?
You
don't piss without your phone. Stop lying.
Let me think about
that. If you get
that.
up in the middle of the night to piss, do you grab your phone?
That I don't do because I'm in a slumber, so I'm kind of just it's kind of like I'm in a slumber state of piss. But you're right. When I do get up, actually I never really have to piss in the morning when I wake up because I do piss in the middle of the night. But that is a good point. I typically, if I have to piss, I do take my phone. That's a good point. But for mostly, if I don't have to piss, I will go 15 minutes. I try to do it, and I just try to breathe and get friendly with the present.
Yeah.
Get friendly with the present.
You got to do it, baby.
Do you do any meditation or mindfulness stuff?
Yeah.
So good.
Every day?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of different things that also act like that, like my time in the sauna. I think that's very meditative, you know, especially when I'm just concentrating on breathing and getting through the last 10, 15 minutes. Cold plunge, I think that's a very meditative state too, because you have to be in control of your emotions and your anxiety because you want to get the fuck out of there, and you have to just stare at the clock. You know, and make sure you do your time, but also other things that I do. Yeah.
What do you stay? How long in the cold plunge?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, not bad. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I've never tried. I can't even do a cold shower.
Dude, I can't believe we're doing maybe the last podcast on Earth after an alien invasion is coming.
I don't think aliens are going to stop podcasting. I think they like podcasts.
They like it, right?
Yeah,
they're going to love yours for sure. You're an advocate for them.
Yeah, so I'm on their side.
Yeah.
Come visit me.
Yeah.
I'm shocked they haven't visited me yet. I'm upset.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come.
You wouldn't be freaked out, right?
I would definitely be freaked out.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not be freaked out when you're confronted with the thing that everybody's wondered forever? Are we alone?
Yeah.
And then if you know you're definitely not alone, no matter who you are and what you say, I don't care if you're the baddest motherfucker on the planet, you run into an alien, you're going to freak out.
But why is that not comforting? Like, I'm a kid who doesn't like loneliness, and it'd be nice to know that there's other things out there.
What if they're completely indifferent to us? What if they've completely
What's the difference
eliminated
between them and
emotion?
Yeah, but what's the
they're
difference between them
cold
and like
calculated like a computer?
We have those here.
Yeah, but they're not telling you what you can and can't do with your life. They're not shutting down your power grid. They're not like coming over to rule over humanity. That's the worry.
I mean, what's
the worry
worst
is that
they
they
can do?
rule over us the way we rule over countries.
But maybe they do a better job.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst they could do, really?
Look at you.
Yeah. I mean, what's the
What
worst?
does ChatGPT say about
Eliminate
aliens?
us?
Huh?
We asked ChatGPT the other day.
What do they
if
say?
the Tic Tac was a UFO. We kept like beating it down, asking it more and more questions. Like it's exhibiting something. What are the possibilities? If it is extraterrestrial, where would it come from? It gave us like a list of like star systems that are close by. Like
wow.
Yeah. You keep pestering.
I kept going with it.
ChatGPT.
I asked it to make an artistic rendition of what it thought it would look like.
What the Tic Tac looked like?
Yeah.
Yo.
At first, it made it huge, and I was like, "That's a little too big, isn't it?"
Yeah, maybe, but not big
I
as
know.
those mothership ones.
And it said, okay.
I don't know what it is, but it's fun. I like all this. I like all this chaos.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I enjoy it when things get real sideways for some strange reason.
They were also probably been coming forever. Just now everyone's
Yes.
got phones, and now they're just capturing
I think it's
them.
in the Bible.
Yeah.
I think the Ezekiel story in the Bible is an alien visitation.
Yeah.
So
What
it
is
sounds
that? They're
like.
saying they talk about these lights
Talks
similar?
about a wheel within a wheel, like the way Ezekiel describes this vision that he sees, like something that had like multiple different animal heads on it and different it describes it as a wheel within a wheel. The way he's describing, like you would imagine, like if you saw something beyond your fucking wildest imagination, and then you tried, years later to write this down, or not even write it down, right? Because it was told as an oral tradition for a long time before it was ever written. Who knows what the actual event was that he described, but there's a lot of ancient religious texts, including the Vimanas from the Bhagavad Gita, all these different stories of things flying in the air that exhibit extraordinary flight characteristics that move the way we describe UFOs.
So that's a good point then. Just because we have the capability to film this and know about it now,
right,
doesn't mean that they're going to expose themselves because they've been doing this for thousands of years.
If you read Jacques Vallée's books on it, Jacques Vallée is the guy. He's a scientist that he was the reason why they had that French guy in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You ever see that? Close Encounters, Steven Spielberg?
Long time ago.
Great fucking movie. Yeah. But there was this French scientist they bring in to try to help people get through this. It's based on Jacques Vallée. And this Jacques, he was a podcast guest, very cagey. Didn't answer a lot of questions.
Okay.
Probed him a lot. But his books are fascinating. And one of the things about his books, I've read the first one, I'm into the second one right now. And in the first one, he goes into detail about through the 1700s, 1800s, all these different sightings, all these different experiences that people documented in news stories and different, and they're all super similar, man. Similar enough that different versions of it, you could kind of attribute it to different people lacking the words to adequately explain some super paranormal, bizarre experience, but real similar. I think they've probably always been here. If they're real, if we are visited by something that's either interdimensional or from another planet, they've probably been doing this for a long fucking time, monitoring us the same way we monitor animals on this planet.
And they'll maybe never say who they really are.
Well, maybe they're getting ready to, because we're about to unleash these fucking quantum computers and AI, and maybe that is the thing that they're here to make sure goes smoothly.
Right.
Because if you had to imagine one thing that would completely change the capability of this race of savage, barbarian, territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons, which is what we are, you would, like, right when they're about to achieve godlike powers, like, let's like hover.
Wow.
Right.
That makes sense. It really does make sense when you put it into that context, which is actually reality, that we are on the precipice of something that is so unimaginable.
Bigger than the split of the atom.
Yeah.
Bigger than anything.
Right.
Like, literally something.
You're blowing my mind right now. Yeah, I mean, we really, when you think so.
Your anxiety's going to go up.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, I don't know. My anxiety is about stupid stuff, which is weird.
Yeah.
This stuff just doesn't bother me, but I get bothered by stupid stuff. What is wrong with me?
Because this stuff is not genuinely affecting you right now. If it was, if it was inescapable, if it was like hovering over this building right now, we wouldn't be able to have a podcast. We'd all be outside.
Yeah.
We'd be going, what the fuck, man? If there's some silent thing that's 3 miles long that's blocking out the sky and it's hovering, 300 yards above us, we would all be freaking the fuck out.
Right.
So my question is, like, Elon Musk probably has like what, a IQ of like 140 or something? Or
probably, at least.
So what is ChatGPT's like IQ like considered now?
Well, once they achieve, and they think they're going to be able to do this in 2025, when it achieves artificial general intelligence, I think what it will be as smart as every human being that's on Earth combined. See if that's right. See if that's correct.
What does that mean, artificial general intelligence?
The thing is, this is like, whatever it is, it's baby steps. So whatever that is, like this insane leap from us to that, is baby steps in comparison to what it's going to be.
Right.
It's not going to stop there. And if you have sentient artificial intelligence and unlimited computing power connected to nuclear power plants like they're going to do, and then it develops a better version of itself and better versions of power and better versions of its programming and all the other things that go along with it and its capabilities, and if ChatGPT is trying to lie and copy itself, what is that thing going to do?
So, and they also don't know how it works, right? Like, I watched that 60 Minutes interview with that sort of godfather of AI, or whatever they consider him, like the guy who first created the biggest component of it. And he says, the layers thing, and then he was
they
like,
don't know how it works.
They don't know how it learns. They don't know how it works.
They don't. No.
That blows my mind.
It should.
Yeah.
It should, and that's why the aliens are hovering.
So is Elon concerned? Is Elon like really concerned about AI?
I don't know. He keeps it under his hat.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I think he's got contracts with NASA, and he's the Defense Department. And he's running SpaceX. I don't think he can talk wild about aliens.
Yeah.
You got that kind of.
Yeah,
because
that's
a lot
what
on the line.
Right.
That's what we were saying in the gym the
Because
other
he doesn't
day.
believe in him. I saw him on your show going like, I'm not sure if they. Yeah.
He said if they're real, they're very subtle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because people were like, "Oh, how come he's not commenting on the drones? He comments on everything."
It's true.
But so like, what does that tell you?
It tells me something's going on.
Yeah.
That's what because I would be commenting on it if I had nothing to do with it and I was a super genius who comments on everything. I would for sure comment on all these fucking drones.
Well, there's a lot of them. My wife saw one. She videoed it. It was a drone. There's a lot of them.
But it could have been
They're
a
out
man-made.
there.
It could have been like somebody
Could have
thrown
been
in
a
there,
kid because a lot of
Could
people
have
are
been.
probably putting them up in the sky too.
100%.
Yeah.
They're all flying
Yeah.
around Austin. I see them,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
normal drones. I seen
Right.
them. I seen them the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boys, let's wrap this up.
Sucks.
Yeah.
All right,
History
baby.
Hyenas is back. I'm
History
very
Hyenas.
happy.
We're
Thank
back,
you.
Very
baby.
happy. Very
Thank
happy.
You. And we're
guys are back.
demonetized on YouTube, so we're trying to get remonetized. But
What happened? What'd you say?
We didn't,
Dude, who knows? It's I don't know. Why does this happen to me? I remember the last time.
Censorship.
Yeah, and the last time they did it to my channel, and then you spoke about it, and then they remonetized. They had suspended me last time. We don't know because
it was before
weren't
we even
active.
started.
The problem is if you get a bunch of haters who flag your videos
Yeah.
and complain about them, I think sometimes that can do it.
Yeah, it says harmful content. We didn't even put in an episode.
It's just cocksuckers who just mass report you or
Right.
they don't like you. I mean, there's a lot of ways to weaponize that whole reporting system.
We're trying, but that's
and then,
why.
you got to realize like YouTube is managing some fucking insane number of videos that are getting uploaded every minute.
Right.
And they probably have to have all these systems in place to handle
Sure.
this stuff. And I bet you can game that system. And then there's also a bunch of people that work for them that are woke dipshits.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they can flag things and they get out of line sometimes.
We tried. We tried to get it reinstated. They said we have to, February is our next chance.
YouTube, please.
Come on.
Please
Yeah.
bring. It's just a history podcast
That's
for two
it.
funny guys. Let it go.
But that's why, in effort, we are playing by the rules with YouTube, and we have really clean, cute content on YouTube. But if you want to get fucking wild with us, go to patreon.com/historyhyenas. That's where we're going off at Patreon.
That's a great sales pitch.
It's true.
I like it.
We are going off.
Gentlemen, appreciate you very much. You guys are awesome.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy you're together again.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Thanks,
All right.
man. Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.